For 40 years, one franchise stands the test of time. Four mutant brothers. Their rat sensei, Splinter. An evil overlord named Shredder. For 40 years, toys, comic books, movies. Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, and Michelangelo. Join host Tommy Walter and the great Muda as they embark on a pop culture journey. The debut episode of Who Popped Your Culture? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Off in the distance, the game's dragging on. There's strikes on the batter, some runners are on. Then suddenly everyone's looking at me. My mind has been wondering, what could it be? They point to the sky and I look up above, and a baseball falls into my glove. I play right field. It's important you know. You gotta know how to catch, you gotta know how to throw. That's why I play in right field, way out where the dandelions grow.
As a proud sponsor of Little League Baseball, Pizza Hut welcomes all the kids who make it great.
Make it great.
We're here. We're talking all things
We're-
Ninja Turtles.
We're back again, another week, but you don't know that.
Another week because this is the first episode.
It's the first episode, and it's just going to be in weird chunks, and there's going to be multiple wardrobe changes, and you're
That's
not going to
fine
know
though.
why.
It's a show.
It's
a
our
show.
fucking format.
A show about nothing, about everything.
Yeah, about all of the unimportant things in life that shaped us into the people that we are,
And who we strive to still be.
It's amazing, really, when you think about it, because all these things that we're talking about and that we're going to talk about, they're not important.
No. But they're important to us.
Well, they're important blocks, building blocks into who we became.
Woven into the tapestry that is our lives.
Right. Yeah. But obviously we're talking about Ninja Turtles again. Now we're actually going to get into the meat and potatoes of it, which
This is actually the first part of the episode that we're recording almost last.
Yeah. Which is probably good because we've spent the last two sessions like hashing shit out and feeling good. Getting good, like feeling good about how we're talking and stuff like that. And these are the most important. This is the TV show was great and it was important in its own way because that's what got the toys out there and that's what got everybody insane about Ninja Turtles. But as far as substance, it wasn't until we got to see the Henson puppets in live action. I'll tell you this, and it's kind of embarrassing. But at the same time, I was like fucking 6 years old, so give me a goddamn break. I saw this movie and I had no illusions at that time that the Ninja Turtles were not totally fucking real.
That was the thing about the movie, though.
Yeah. Like
when you saw them on the big screen.
Right.
That's when you're like, okay, this isn't just a toy. This isn't just a cartoon.
Be like, their mouths are fucking moving.
Their
eyes are moving. They are doing fucking ninjutsu.
They're the size of a human being.
Yeah. Like this is real deal. And anybody who's ever seen the Turtle Power documentary, and if you haven't, you should.
Yes.
That should be like a companion piece along with this episode of this podcast,
Yes.
which will live on in perpetuity in the annals of YouTube history.
Emphasis on anal.
Correct.
Yes.
That's the only way to pronounce that properly.
Yes.
So if you recall, the press tour in and around this movie, they sent people in giant foam Ninja Turtle costumes to the malls all across America and, as far as I know, the world. And they did this right around the movie, and the perception was largely that these people were going to be in the Ninja Turtle movie costumes.
Yes.
And I think at that point I was snapped out of my illusion or delusion that the Ninja Turtles were actual sewer dwelling mutant turtles who knew ninjutsu.
Seeing somebody in a costume in person.
Oh no, it was like just like the veil had been lifted, and I wasn't as crazy as I was when it first hit me. When I first watched the movie.
Gotcha.
But we were under the illusion that those were what we were going to be seeing. That people were going to be in the mall dressed in the head to toe fucking Jim Henson
animatronic
creature
suits.
shop animatronic suits. And man, that was a heartbreaker. When we got there, and it was the giant like toy.
Yeah,
because that's what it was. They didn't have they didn't have pupils. It was like literally just a giant exaggerated version of the action figures. And it was still kind of like we made posters. Like we were fucking excited.
It was like you could compare it to going to the mall to see Tiffany prior to the Ninja Turtles. Yeah, it was a big deal. I didn't see them at a mall though. I saw them at a car dealership, which is even even worse because it was probably they rented a suit.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, and it's man,
but that's how they got people in there though to buy a fucking car was because parents are having to bring their kids because it's been on the radio for the last month that the Ninja Turtles are going to be at the Scarlet.
Right, and while you're waiting in line for 3 hours, and then at that point too, because this is going to be a reoccurring theme on Who Pop is just like the Grand Canyon sized chasm between the culture of the 80s and early 90s and now. The thought process of the car dealer: get the Ninja Turtle in there, get the kids on a line, make the kids wait, make the parents wait because the kids are waiting. And then while the kids are fucking waiting in line to meet their favorite fucking Ninja Turtle, parents are off checking out that sweet Buick LeSabre.
And mind you, it was not all 4 turtles.
Right. No, just one. Generally Raphael.
We got Donatello and Raph, so I got my favorite.
Yeah.
Which I was happy about.
Like it was
still have a Polaroid somewhere.
I get the impression, at the very least, for the comic book aspect of it, that Raphael went most places. Yeah. Because of the red bandana.
The original illustration was all 4 had the red. Yeah.
And it just like all I can think of. The same thing with the mall. I mean, the mall was just, and I don't think it was because there was going to be so many people there. I think it was more to get the people there so that way they were already there and they buy something while they're there. And it's it's that fucking kind of that 80s, like it gets such a bad rap nowadays, but the products of them, while they may be or of the system, while they may be corrupted now, man, 80s and early 80s capitalism was, oh my god, I miss it so much. I really do. Yeah, just the things that we got out of those 22-minute toy commercials. Like that solely to sell toys. And like I don't remember half the morals. But I remember the end of the moral lessons. I remember the end of the public service announcements. Who doesn't remember and knowing is half the battle?
Right.
You know, who doesn't remember the entire group of good guys at the end of an episode after whatever character learned their lesson, all just going, ha 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 ha, as the fucking credits rolled.
I always refer to them as Full House moments. I will forever refer to them as Full House moments.
You know, like the Thundercats, it was always like Snarf, or Wily Kid or Wily Cat, and you know, and then
even as far back as He-Man.
Yeah, oh, definitely. He-Man's what started it.
Yeah,
really. Like I think that was because the He-Man was the rush to get those toys. I think was that's what fucking.
Well, and the toys were first. The toys are what triggered the.
Right. But like the amount, like as soon as the show came out, the fucking toys were flying.
Oh, went crazy.
And then how we got those PSAs in the cartoons. I remember what the hell it was called, but it was something about like the children's welfare.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
that's what they were. That's the whole thing was. But like, yeah, just that whole, you know, bribing children to make the parents spend money. Like, man, like it's fucked up.
It feels like it feels like it started with us, but you know, in a way, it really didn't. No. Yeah, it started with, you know, I would say as far back as, I mean, you could go to our grandparents. Because, I mean, even then, you know, with comic books and stuff, you had the ads for like the sea monkeys and the X-ray glasses and shit like that. You know, I mean, it's all just a movement to push junk in a sense. I mean, obviously when you're a kid, it's not junk.
Right. But
it's something that you like that you can hold in your hand and feel like a part of it.
Right. But I think it's the what I'm talking about mostly is the He-Man figures.
Mm-hmm.
Really, it just like it fucking exploded. And I think it had a lot more to do with the fact that there was more TVs and more homes.
Sure.
I mean, because you look back the old the Winston commercial with the Flintstones.
Mm-hmm.
You know, fucking Barney and Fred out back, rocking a smoke.
They sure work hard, don't they, Barney?
Yeah? I hate to see them work so hard.
Yeah, me too. Let's go around back where we can't see them.
Gee, we ought to do something, Fred.
Okay. How's about taking a nap?
Hey, I got a better idea. Let's take a Winston break.
That's it. Winston is the one filter cigarette that delivers flavor 20 times a pack. Winston's got that filter blend.
Yeah,
like,
Fred.
Yeah, it's existed for like way long. I mean, that's just the nature of marketing. Like marketing generally is just how you trick people into buying stuff, rather than make something that they want to buy.
That would be too easy to actually make something that somebody wanted to buy.
Yeah. You got to make them think that they want it.
Yeah.
And then make them wonder why they bought it.
It's the same way with,
2 weeks after they bought it.
Ads, catalogs back. I mean, catalogs are nothing now. They don't exist.
Which is probably for the best, considering the amount of paper that was.
But I mean, back in the day, other than
Toys R Us catalog.
Yeah, other than TV commercials, we had Toys R Us catalog, we had Sears catalog, we had JCPenney catalog. All had toys.
The Christmas catalogs, man. When you saw that, like whatever, 3/4 of an inch to 1 inch.
Yeah.
Like 1 inch thick fucking catalog of all the toys that you wish you could buy, but you're
not gonna get.
Yeah.
But you still went in there and circled the shit you wanted and gave it to your parents.
Yes.
That was part of the fun.
In hindsight, it really was like that was an experience in and of itself. And then like you're under 10 years old, so your perception of time is so skewed that like by the time Christmas actually comes around, it's like you did that a year ago, and you don't get 98% of the shit that you circled, but I mean, whatever.
You start looking at it August, September, and by the time Christmas come around, you've moved on.
Right, you moved on,
that or fad is gone.
You're blinded by the pile of boxes wrapped in more paper.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. the magic of Christmas
with the shredded catalog in the box that's wrapped in the paper.
Right? Yeah. Like, how else are you gonna wrap all those fucking or protect all those fragile whatevers? Yeah. But yeah, so they like the first movie when it came out, it blew everything up.
Yeah.
And we, so I guess the way that this will be chopped up, we'll mention it later.
The movie?
Yeah.
Yes.
So so the way that we'll mention it again at the end.
Yeah.
Because we recorded that last week.
Right. Yeah.
This is a journey through space and time, folks.
Stick with us. We'll get to the point at some point.
Yeah. In about 2.5 hours, we'll get to the point. It was the era, also I guess it was just the era of dark kids movies, really.
Yeah.
It was just to be like, this is the darkest movie I've ever seen. It was like, except for the fact that Batman came out a year before this.
Prior, yes. and Batman was the first movie that I saw in the theaters.
Yeah.
Because I was 2.
Yeah.
But I also somehow remember going to see it in the theater.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know. Maybe it was just because it was the end of the 80s. In the 80s was...
I think we were just smarter then, honestly.
It's possible. It's very possible. And like there was definitely more like, I don't know. I think it was very much... It was also, it's just very much the sign of the times. There's the end of the 80s. There's the end of fucking Reagan.
Mm-hmm.
This is back in the day when it took fucking 2 years to make a movie.
Yeah.
You make a movie in 6 days and then it takes 2 years to release. A movie like this, like it took a while.
Yeah. Especially with the Turtles. I mean, shit. We had the comics, which we both, I know my dad had them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember seeing the Turtles though until the cartoon.
Yeah.
That was my first introduction. And then he was like, oh yeah, this is what this is. So I saw it later on. Granted, I still wasn't reading then because I was too young. But I remember just sitting down and watching the cartoon. That had been on for a while already because that started around the time that I was born. So it's kind of like a natural progression. Like, kids today, they, with mine specifically, like Paw Patrol and Bubble Guppies and shit like that. Like, even though it's already on, it wasn't made for you, but that's how you find it, is by flipping the channels, and that's how you find. And then I'm watching that and my dad goes, oh yeah, here, this is what this came from. Because even then he was like, why are the 4 of them have different colored bandanas? They all had red in the comic book. And then came the toys, because you would see the commercials for the toys on TV. And then it's like, okay, well, now to this point, I'm old enough to either not necessarily want them, but my parents know that I like that, so they're going to get it for me.
Splinter the Rat taught them each the ninja arts. Donatello, master of the staff. War! Leonardo, the katana blade. My God! Raphael, the sage. Don't this at all, kids! And Michelangelo, the nunchakus.
Radical! And master of the willing pizza.
Hey, who had the pepperoni and ice cream?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
From Playdate.
And then it becomes, okay, now I'm vocal. Now I can say, hey, I want to go to Toys R Us. Now I can say, hey, I need this guy. Because I saw him on the new commercial, or I saw him in a catalog.
Yeah.
Like, you find something, you like it, your parents get the gist. But even then, it was like, especially with Turtles, that was that original, like, obsession.
Yeah.
Like, you had to have it. And when it was on, you had to watch it. It wasn't we didn't have 700 channels.
No.
We had very few, even then, because, cable was still infant. So we had a few channels. More than, obviously, like our parents had. They had like 3, but we had a few. And I mean, Turtles was on CBS, so that was readily available in almost every home at that point, even if you didn't have cable. But like, you know, the Playmate ads and stuff, just getting those, and you're like, fuck, I need all of these. Even if you only have, even if you only had like, you had that initial wave of, you know, the Turtles, Shredder, Splinter, April, then it's Ray Fillet, then it's Mutagen Man, then it's, oh, we need this guy, this, you know, Bebop, Rocksteady, you know, which those were more in the first wave too. I would say Krang. But then the play sets, Jesus Christ, you get the, if you were lucky enough to get the sewer play set or the pizza shooter, the party wagon, the blimp, which I remember lasted me maybe a month, and it got popped.
It was too the blimp was too it was untenable for a child.
No, it that was something like you would see now with people our age who are collectors.
Right.
That's something that needs to be hanging from a ceiling because it's a piece of art. It really is.
The blimp, that was like a beach ball, right? You had to blow it up like a beach ball. Yeah. Like I just think about, like, I don't think I knew anybody. Like, I had the van. I remember the van was that at one point the van was like my single birthday present. And as was like the pizza shooter, like the year later. But the blimp, I don't think I knew anybody who had the blimp.
Yeah.
Like I think I'm gonna go out on a limb and I'm gonna say that like the parents of my neighborhood were like, there's no way. Because it was too big as well. Like once you had it blown up, and it's like, what kid is playing with this? It's like almost as big as I was.
Me.
Yeah.
And I popped the motherfucker.
Right.
And I remember that day vividly being like, thinking the world was coming to an end because I popped the blimp. And I mean, you could get a patch.
Sure.
Even back then, I mean, that was readily available at any, you know, you go to the fucking hardware store and get a patch for, you know, a plastic thing like that. But that's asking too much.
Yeah.
Because at that point, it's like, why didn't you take care of it? This is on you now.
I think that the biggest issues too was like, I remember because I wanted more than one foot soldier.
Yes.
And like my parents were both jocks. So they didn't get it like in, you know, so their whole childhood consisted of sports outdoors. Summer, winter didn't matter. So like the idea of like action figures and stuff like that, like by the time like G.I. Joe was popular, they were already out of it.
Right.
So they didn't get the action figure thing at all. And then once I had a foot soldier, they were just like, why the fuck do you need another one? Like, because there's an entire army.
There's
of
an
them.
army.
I can't just have one.
No.
It's like, we're not buying you. We already bought you that toy. We're not buying you more than one. Anyway, it was just, it was.
In retrospect, I'm the same way though.
Oh yeah.
Because, you know, like with my kids, you know, they got back in when the newer show came out, and obviously, you know, Star Wars, which will be a big one on our channel at some point. But I have to have more than one Stormtrooper. Well, why? Well, because there's a fucking army of them, Tommy. That's why.
Thousands and thousands and thousands.
But see, I'm more likely to do it because I understand it.
Right.
Back then, that kind of thing wasn't as understandable.
No.
Even though, okay, well, did you not play with army men as a kid, Dad? How many of those did you need?
But at the same time, army men came in a giant bag of 500.
They came with multiple.
For 200 for 250. For $2.50, you got a bag full of fucking army men, 500 of them. And then you know, they all die one by one by fire.
And there were different ones too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great toy. Honestly, when you think back on it.
Yeah. That I saw the cartoon, or like I don't have like a, you know, a moment of awe that I can remember when when it all just happened. It was just like, it almost feels like the Turtles just were.
Yeah.
And now, mind you, my birthday is like days before the comic book was released. So kind of the Turtles always were since I've been alive.
They progressed as you progressed.
Kind of, yeah. You know, and like so I was 3 when the cartoon came out. Like, you know, it was like 3, 4. Like I don't remember when I started getting the toys. I just always remember, like, there was time I got the cereal at one point.
With
I
the
got
bank.
the cereal with the ball, or not the ball, bowl.
Uh-huh.
They had the bowl, the turtle bowl that had a straw in it, so you could drink the candy milk that was left over. Like I remember that. I remember, you know, I was with the toys, obviously, with me and my friends. The comic books, the cartoon-based comic books, which are like
Tales of the TMNT. I think it's what they're called. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I've looked on eBay trying to find some of them, and it's kind of like it's just all the kid stuff, where it's like instead of the sea monkeys and whatnot, it's just more turtle merchandise
logo. It's all about that logo.
Yeah. Like it feels like the Ninja Turtles have always been a part of my life for as long as I can remember.
In some way or form, yeah, it's always been, whether it be a memory or something new or
it's always like they just always been there. Like, and it's funny thinking about it now, and like doing this show and and remembering all of these things. And just like it really was just always there, and it's still going. It's
one of those properties that's going to be around well after we're gone.
All it requires is a minor tweak.
Yep. Somebody's always going to have a different spin on things.
Honestly, right now, I'm just looking forward to when this cheap. I don't even know what else to call it. Like the Steven Universe.
Mm-hmm.
Like when the Steven Universe art style is over. That's so popular right now, and they've done it like they did it with Thundercats.
Yeah.
They're trying to do it with something else. Like they did it with Teen Titans Go, even though it was a little more anime. But like the next incarnation of Ninja Turtles, because the current incarnation's not my favorite.
No.
Like not even story wise, because I don't know what they're doing. But the current incarnation's art style is it's slapdash.
Yeah, it looks like it's just thrown together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even like the 2012 version that my kids were initiated into. Like
at least that one
had good 3D, story. Right? Yeah. That one had good story. It didn't have the greatest character design. Now, granted, there was an episode where you got the 87 cartoon versions, and that's the same with the 2003. They ended up doing the movie where they cross over the universes and time and space and delete. It's like you get some version of that.
What's going on, Donatello?
Well, we came from a 2-dimensional reality into a 3rd dimension. It's like science fiction.
Nothing's ever going to touch that initial phenomenon that was the turtle. I mean, the cartoon, the toys, that first movie made on especially with what they did, a shoestring budget. I mean, that was made with, what did it end up being, like
13 and
a half? Yeah. And how much did it gross?
202.
Yeah. So, and I mean, for the longest time until Pulp Fiction, I think it was. Until Pulp Fiction, it was the biggest indie movie of all time. And I mean, obviously, Pulp Fiction, that's a work of art in itself.
It's like a magical, like a super magical movie moment. Like as far as Hollywood, like the way things happen in Hollywood, you've got like again with the turtle power, you look at it and they talk about it and they talk about how difficult it was. It was just like, who the fuck's gonna make this movie?
Yep.
What the hell was the show?
And not only financially was it difficult for them to make the movie, but shopping the movie was difficult. Nobody wanted it. And then on top of that, the suit actors, the punishment that they went through, not being able to breathe in those suits and having the wires in the back of their neck, and like when they could take off the head, they could only put it to the side. They couldn't take it completely off. They had the wooden horses throughout the studio where they were just kind of like hovering over them to rest. And then you've got 60 pounds of shit in the shell.
They were made of stronger stuff back then.
Sure. And Jim Henson, obviously a fucking genius.
They're actors in suits, and that the heads are remote controlled. In fact, they're fascinated by it, but they believe them.
I'm the cool dude, Michelangelo. Your favorite and mine. I love surfing. I love pizzas. I love life. Didn't do that very well, did you? Let's try again.
The Turtles, Splinter, and the new characters Toka and Razor are brought to life by Jim Henson's Creature Shop.
And go!
The technique that makes you believe that these creatures are almost real is called animatronics. It's a space-age form of puppetry where the puppeteer uses a computer and radio controls to animate his creature.
First, we should observe the ancient ritual of the, traditional
pre-fight donut.
Yeah!
Technically how it works, you have the puppeteer who has his controls. He's standing off camera. Then you have the actor who's inside the suit with the mechanical head on, and the puppeteer's actions are transmitted via one of our special computers to the turtle head.
You've got the motor sounds that's constantly going on. You can't see. That's where we see her, right there. Oh, I shouldn't show that. And you've got the sound from your puppeteer, because you can talk to him. And you've got, in the other ear, you've got the sound from the common feed, which is everybody talking together. And then you have whatever's going on in the outside world, which also filters through as well. So it's basically like...
And his work is some of the finest that you'll ever know. I mean, he's kind of started it all as far as like puppetry.
Just in textures alone.
Yeah.
That like the creatures themselves, like the suits they're fucking immaculate.
Muscle definition.
I always, up until like way later than I'm comfortable admitting, I thought that they were just really fucking diligent about the way that they shot it, and that you'd always have wires.
Yeah.
It didn't realize, it did not dawn on me that all of these puppets, these were wireless animatronics.
Mm-hmm.
Like that the turtles specifically. I know that I know Splinter was, but yeah, the idea that
Splinter was a hand puppet.
Yeah, he was a puppet, a proper puppet. It's too many P's.
Puppet.
And yeah, I don't know. It was groundbreaking as as these things tend to be. I don't think this was the first time he'd used wireless puppets. Like he probably did it in. I wouldn't be surprised if he had done it in things like Labyrinth and Dark Crystal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe not Dark Crystal. Dark Crystal's all.
Those are all like hand puppets, right?
Hand puppets,
or
with the exception
creatures.
of, I think there were some parts where they just slapped a kid in a costume and had him like run.
Right.
But for the most part, I think it was all hand puppets or giant, like wearable puppets, like for the Skeksis. But Labyrinth, like I feel like Hoggle had to have been
a suit performer,
like slightly wireless.
Yeah.
But like, you know, and the same thing with like Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like Lucas did, and then Favreau did behind him
Mm-hmm.
in the same spirit, where like they created technologies in order to do stuff. And I think,
Yeah, I mean,
when
George Lucas created his own, you know, company to make it.
Right. With ILM and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like the but the I don't what it, like I know the Avid machine.
Uh-huh.
I know, I'm pretty sure that was a Lucas invention for editing that they still use today. I think.
ILM's got its fingerprints on everything.
Right.
Almost now.
And then if you've watched any of the behind the scenes stuff for The Mandalorian,
oh yeah, sure.
They created that giant LED set so they could do giant outdoor shots without having to be on location. You know, and it's just much done in the same thing. And then Henson is that guy for puppetry.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like, he's the man. And like, you know, and then that was on full display. And it terrifies me to think of because I know he was originally against the idea of doing this movie because of the violence.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it terrifies me to think of what this movie would have been if Henson wasn't the one who did it. You know, like if it
I almost feel like it would have been kind of, I feel like it would have been on it would have had to have been like scale models.
Yeah.
A la Star Wars, like when you would have those action scenes with, you know, the Death Star and or when they're on Hoth, stuff like that. I mean, obviously that stuff you can't do that, especially back then. Now you could do it with CGI and everything. But
you know what, it probably would have looked like fucking Clash of the Titans.
Yeah.
10 years later, it would have looked like Clash of the Titans. And I mean, you never know. You could have had, the Phil Tippett was the guy that they got to do, or they were gonna get to do the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park before they figured out that they could do it in CGI.
Right.
But yeah, like that was that's probably what we would have gotten, and who knows, it could have been all right. It wouldn't have been like it probably would have gone down in history as
it definitely
it
would have changed a lot.
Classic.
Yeah,
like Clash of the Titans.
It wouldn't have been where kids are getting turned away in line at a movie theater.
Right. I mean, probably the first weekend. Actually, no. Never mind that. Fucking kids are dumb. We would have fucking gone and seen that shit 20 times anyway, just because it was Ninja Turtles.
But it also could have been very like culty, like Rocky Horror Picture Show, where you're like at the drive-in or something at midnight.
But like, and then in hindsight, we'd be sitting here being like, man, Jim Henson almost did that. Could you imagine what Ninja Turtles would have been like if you know, the guy behind Labyrinth and Dark Crystal got his hands on it?
It's just crazy to me thinking about that movie and Jim Henson and the Creature Shop and all that. Almost flawless it was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you couldn't really tell. I mean, obviously, human perception is different than, or an adult human's perception of real and fake are completely different to a child's. But as a child, we weren't sitting there scanning to like see where like the fucking head met the neck.
Right.
Like, and now, I mean, obviously as an adult, you can see it. But, and I'm sure, you know, our parents are like, oh my God, whatever, you know? But like, other than that, and then like, I don't even, because now it's so obvious, like that scene where Raph's in the tub and everything, and he wants food, get him food.
Yeah.
And Donatello laughs, and you can see the guy in the suit, you can see his teeth and shit. And it's so fucking weird now seeing that. But as kids, we didn't notice that.
I never, that one in particular, where Donatello opens his mouth
that's
wide.
That's the one spot, and it's so weird watching it now, and like, especially in that Turtle Power documentary, when they it's kind of they kind of do it in slow motion, and you see it, and you're like, what the fuck?
Super creepy,
Because I mean, in the movie, you get a glance of it, but it's not really,
The fact that they didn't correct that in post, though, that's like there's just like literally all you had to do was like just kind of scrub it with like a black crayon over that for like 3 frames. It's like 3 frames. And to the point where you made earlier, kind of that we were like smarter, because I almost like the fact that we like bought all this shit hook, line, and sinker is like one of those. It was like, I don't know if we were smart.
Maybe we were.
The fact that this was offered up as a kids movie was, I don't know, significant. Like in the same vein as Batman and Batman Returns, all children's movies. And then fucking like Nightmare Before Christmas. Like we were fed pretty dark shit
to a point, though, because I always felt like, and we're definitely fucking doing Batman. I mean, that's no fucking question. Because to this day, Batman '89 is top 5 for me, favorite movies of all time.
I think that's actually the first movie I ever saw in the theater.
Yeah,
personally, that I can remember at least.
But I almost don't feel like Batman. I mean, I know it's a comic book superhero. I don't feel like he was marketed as much in the beginning. I don't feel like the movie was intended for kids.
I don't think Tim Burton had kids in mind when he made it.
No. That's what I'm saying.
But Warner Brothers was like, we making toys, bitch.
Yep.
Like,
that's what I'm saying. The studio's perception of a Batman movie in Tim Burton's world is completely different.
Right.
And I want to say that's almost the same with Turtles, though, is with Steve Barron directing. He didn't probably have children in mind. He was using the comic books as reference. He wasn't solely using the animated series as his reference points.
Right.
I'm sure some parts of it might have been looked at, but as far as like content goes, it was more obviously it had to be, because it was dark, like you said.
Yeah,
it had to be referenced from the comic books, and that was kind of their selling point, anyways. Were the comics.
Yeah, and it was so it's 90, so it's like, well, yeah, it's just I don't know what the target audience was for the cartoon. Like, I know it was action figure buying kids, or kids who got their parents to buy action figures.
Well, I mean, you use your allowance,
right? But so maybe a little bit older than maybe we were.
Yeah,
it was definitely not it was.
I would say probably like maybe they were pushing like more of a preteen aspect with especially with like the foot in the movie.
Right.
Obviously those are teenage kids, robbing everybody fucking blind.
Right. So maybe like 8 to 11-year-olds.
Yeah.
At the time of the movie's release.
Yeah.
So well beyond us. Well, yeah, by a couple years.
Yeah.
So maybe like
right out of our demo.
Right. So maybe the movies were made more, or this movie specifically was made more for those on the on the precipice of puberty.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, do not follow in Danny's footsteps. The Sex Pistols will make you a junkie.
Yes, because they were so relevant in 1990.
Right. It's like, I don't know. There's everything about this movie is still relevant to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I just watched it a few hours ago.
Right. And I'd probably put this movie on. Like, if it's on a streaming service, like, I own it. I own them all.
Mm-hmm.
I feel I bought all of these movies on Blu-ray out of Walmart's bargain bin.
Yeah.
And I feel like I robbed them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got the 3 movie set on Blu-ray, and I think it was like $7.88 or something like that. for the Blu-ray set for all 3 movies.
Yeah, I wish I'd have seen that, but that was what it was. The 788 Blu-ray bin. They got
Yeah.
like the 588 DVD bin and then the 788 Blu-ray bin, and I bought all 3 of them. And I'm just like, there's like, this has got to be a mistake. So
nope. I remember when I got the Blu-ray set. It was Black Friday sale.
Okay.
It was, I want to say it was like one of the 988, but it was all 3 movies. So give or take, whatever, a couple bucks, no big deal. But I remember seeing it. I was like, oh shit, I got to get this because my kids need this in their lives. And I will gladly watch these movies with them. And then I did buy the CGI animated movie, the 07 movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I bought that separately. But now they have a 4-pack where you can get all 4 in one set. Because apparently the 2007 movie is actually canon to the original trilogy.
Right. Yeah. It's supposed to happen well after all that.
Yeah.
So.
But in the sewer they have Shredder's helmet and stuff from the original trilogy.
Yeah. And it and after the Michael Bay movies, I do believe everybody was way more way more accepting of the idea that that TMNT was a part of the original trilogy.
Yeah. Because even at first, I don't remember watching the 2007 movie until later on. I want to say I don't think I saw that until right before the Michael Bay movies came out.
I saw it in the theaters.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it
nice.
was I think I was right at the beginning of right 2007, 23. Oh yeah, and I was just right in the beginning of my midlife crisis. I'm just like, no, that's too early. Although when I was 23, I
had a midlife crisis at 23. I remember that very vividly. That's right before I met my wife, and I was a fucking mess. I was a mess of a man. It was 23 was kind of when I was properly thrust into reality. Mm-hmm. Me too.
19, 20, 21, 22. I was working bullshit jobs.
Yeah.
I was scraping by.
Mm-hmm.
I was digging myself into absurd amounts of debt. And the release of the 2007 movie was I'm just like, I gotta go do this. Ninja Turtles is who I am as a person. I have to do this. I need
you needed that escape from reality for a minute.
I need 90 minutes of nostalgia to remind me that or to kind of just bring me back to living a an idyllic child's life. And
and see 2007, so I would have been 20. So I was still in the battles of trying to become an adult and not be a fucking just piece of shit. But I was well on my way at that point. And then I think that's kind of weird. 23, that was the cutoff point. That's most people say, especially an adult man, we don't start to grow, or we stop. What is it? We stop growing at 25, or there's a switch that goes off at 25, and
our brain stops developing at 25.
Yeah,
that movie or that documentary it is one of the best. It's almost as good to me as the Electric Boogaloo, the story of Canon Films.
I love that documentary too.
It's hands down my favorite. And basically due to the fact that those movies are what raised me. On the WPIX. There's got to be an episode as well.
Yes,
we have to I don't know if we can somehow find a history of WPIX. I know it.
I'm sure it exists.
I know it still exists as a channel.
Oh yeah.
but I know because like once it was taken over by Warner Brothers, and then then it turned into the CW and all that shit.
There's got to be some kind of YouTube documentary on WPIX.
I would fucking hope so, because I know, like, oh man,
if not, maybe we should make
that. I have made some social media buddies. Like all my social medias are not. I don't interact with people that I know in my everyday life,
right,
on my social media. That's how I keep my social media a fun place.
Yeah.
So I've made friends just by mentioning sitting in front of a wooden cabinet television watching WPIX on a Saturday morning and afternoon. Like just that experience, that shared experience with the people from our region at that time in history. Like, it's fucking amazing. But yeah, so Electric Boogaloo, Canon Films, they managed to take, like, I mean, it's about in Turtle Power is similar in the way that it covers such a large portion of time, and it makes you feel like you were there for all of it.
Yep.
I mean, like, and we were there for all of it, really, for most of it.
I hate to say this, but the only thing that could make that documentary better is if it was like 2 hours longer.
Dude,
every time I watch it, and I watched that last night right before I started the movies. Every time I watch it, like, I feel like it leaves me wanting more. Yeah. I want to know more. Give me more details.
Especially looking back on it, that it was released in 2014, and so it was probably wrapped shooting in late 2012 or 2013.
Right.
And so much has happened since then.
Yes.
Like, and I think the first time I saw it, it was only a few years after it was released. But still, like, and now especially, like, they need like a part 2.
Yeah. And even if you use a lot of like unused footage, like, I just want to know more. I want to know more about, the making of each movie.
Yep.
You know what I mean? there's got to be footage of that shit out there. I mean, cameras don't stop rolling just because the director yells cut.
Right.
There's especially even then, like, camcorders were readily available in 1990. So if somebody on set had something, and I mean, you've seen you can see clips on YouTube of stuff that went on, but I want to see, like, on location shit, like the farmhouse and stuff. Like, I want to see more behind the scenes stuff on that.
And, like, shout out to Turtles Den.
Yeah.
Like, they
shit.
Yeah, they dig up some stuff. Like, they got all the, like, that.
I'll link that channel in this, because without that, I wouldn't.
Like, there's like, there's a few YouTube channels that have been imperative to my deeper learning of most of my like old nostalgia pop culture shit. And yeah, Turtles Den is definitely
that's top notch. That guy does excellent fucking work.
Like with the Where Are the Puppets Now?
Mm-hmm.
That creepy.
Oh, fuck.
So terrifying. It's so sad, but, like, what else are you gonna do with foam latex? Like,
yeah, it's gonna deteriorate over time.
There's only so much preservation you can do. What is it, 90 minutes?
Yeah.
An hour and 45 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
Like,
give or take.
It's a reasonable length for a feature film.
It's an in-depth overview of an entire franchise in the time it would take you to watch a movie.
Right. And, like, they could do, like, are you familiar with the Crystal Lake Memories?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
I can't remember the name of the Nightmare on Elm Street counterpart.
I know what you're talking about. I just watched it last year for the other show.
Right. So
we did the Nightmare on Elm Street.
So you got a 4.5 hour documentary about Nightmare on Elm Street, broken down film by film.
Excellent.
And then you've got the same thing for Crystal Lake Memories, which turned out to be 8 hours long.
Yes.
Because, there's more movies.
Right. But again, excellent.
Oh, absolutely. And I sat
detailed.
The streaming service documentary platform, the episodic documentaries, like these limited docuseries, have changed the game with documentaries. And I like as much as I love the movies that made us and the toys that made us and stuff like that, like I need more. Like,
yeah,
fucking like
I'm the same way with
more
those
information, and like, and you can do it now. And like they're into the In Search of Darkness. Have you watched those? Yeah. So I'm still not done with the second one
of
yet.
course I am.
Yeah.
It's really good. Yeah.
I did not know Jericho was involved, but it doesn't surprise me either. But yeah, 4-hour long documentaries. Fucking In Search of the Last Action Hero. Although that one was short.
Yeah.
Sadly. But like at the same time, the movies covered in that documentary, as vast and as much as they outnumber the horror movies, the substance of those movies is like paper thin.
Right.
Like, and but yeah, and then they're doing same people that did In Search of Darkness are doing a sci-fi one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's like a 4.5 hour long sci-fi one that I can't wait for.
And
so, like,
even that there was a Star Wars one on YouTube, and I don't know if it's still there, but it's like film by film, basically frame by frame. Like, I mean, it's extensive, but it fills in each, like, basically like scene by scene, tells you the backstory on each, and it's like, it's amazing what people can do now.
Yeah.
As content creators, just the amount of time that we've spent on Turtles in the last month, just to put something like this out. It would take us years to put out a definitive collection. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere down the road we didn't revisit Turtles.
Like, I mean, the more stuff comes out, of course, naturally, we do it, you know, that or in a live stream or something.
Yeah.
Sure. Like,
and we haven't even touched on the second or third movie.
No, not yet.
All right, so now we are talking about the second movie, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze, released March 22nd, 1991. This is the craziest thing to me, is the difference between the first and the second movie. Less than a year. How is that even possible? I thought it was 92 this was released.
No, I mean, that tracks. I remember, and it's all, my timeline is pretty much all based around my dad.
What month was the first movie released?
90, I think. I think it came out in 90.
Well, no. What month? I know it was 90.
I don't fucking know.
I gotta look this up. This is fucking with me right off the bat. March 30th, 1990. See, I thought it was March. What the fuck? How did they fast track this fucking movie in a year?
There's probably all the money that the fucking first one made. That's the only thing I could think of. Like the amount of the amount of the success that the first movie saw.
Right. No, I mean, I get that, but holy
and they had,
shit.
And they had New Line behind them.
Right.
Again.
And in a bigger budget. The second movie had $25 million budget.
So they didn't have to lie, cheat, and
steal. As compared to the first one that had what, 13.5, we said.
Right. And I remember, I think they had to stop. If I recall correctly, Turtle Power. They had like some crazy stoppage that because they ran out of money and somehow they were able to eke out like another.
The producer went to his guy in Hong Kong or whatever, got more money. So budget was $25 million for Secret of the Ooze, and it did 78.7 at the box office. Which not as good as the first one, but fuck, still not bad.
Yeah. And then it it was ultimately, it was probably just all cash grab anyway.
I mean, you triple your money. It can't be too bad.
So I go back and like the second movie makes me so sad. I loved it when I was a kid.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's the thing, is like everybody had the black case, the white case, the yellow case.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I always remember, I mean, I loved the first movie, obviously. It was the fucking tits. But for some reason, I guess it was that kid factor. I always lean more towards Secret of the Ooze.
They made a cartoon
More colorful
out of it. Yeah, very much more colorful. Like everything. I mean,
yeah, but you're right. It was more like a cartoon.
It opens in that weird underground mall.
Mm-hmm. Which are those a real thing?
Like not for nothing. Like it looks like Japan.
It does. It looks like where you would go to get like a knockoff jersey or something.
Yeah, like every time I rewatch it, I'm just like, I have never, ever, ever seen one of these. Like,
while we're on it though, I forgot to mention this. I did watch another Turtles Den video, and NECA is making a Kino figure.
Are they really?
Yes. They really NECA tweeted out, I guess. I didn't see it for whatever reason. I think I only follow NECA on my personal Twitter, which I don't tweet from ever. I don't know why I have one. But they have a prototype. They put out a picture of it. Just the back of him. You can't see his face, but you see the pizza box and then like his jacket and the back of his head. Which Kino in the second movie, in the first movie, he was a super performer for Donatello.
That's right. Yeah.
Which blows my fucking mind. Like he was so good. Like they're like, we're giving you a fucking role in the second movie, kid.
Yeah. You don't even have to wear a mask.
He was an all right character though. I didn't mind him.
Yeah, I mean, there's mostly just a plot device. It's just like they had April and Casey in the first one, and all those other characters that drove the story. And they just couldn't do that again, so they
right. Well, and we didn't even get Casey Jones in the second one.
That's right.
Which is weird.
Super is.
Why?
I mean, I don't know.
He's in the third one. Why isn't he in the second one?
Well, I think they realized they made the mistake in the
second they're like, we fucked up on this one.
Yeah. And
because Kino's not in the third one.
Nope. And I mean, how are you gonna not put the guy with the hockey mask in there? I wonder if they were just like, maybe people might find out like the origins of Casey Jones in the comic book, and they're like, we don't want a bunch of kids
maybe
like aspiring to grow up and be a Casey Jones, but
a junkie,
a junkie, a psychopathic fucking
piece of shit
vigilante
running from the cops.
Goddamn junkies. But it's like, like looking back on the second one a lot is just like, it makes me sad because the first one, like as an adult, the first one is just so goddamn good.
It still stands up.
Yeah.
It's not
like, and it's not that the second one doesn't stand up. It's the fact that it is just more child friendly. And I understand that's the whole purpose of it.
Right.
But it like, I don't know. The first one's such a good story.
Yeah. I mean, I like Toka and Razor. I like those characters. We talked about it before. I don't know if it got cut or not. But Corey Feldman voicing Donatello. Obviously in the third, but not in the second, which I'm assuming he just wasn't available. Which I think his star had kind of burnt out by that point, but still, I mean, I'm sure Turtles was going to pay him more or around what he was going to get elsewhere. I'm sure it was a money thing.
I wouldn't be surprised. Early 90s were not kind to Corey Feldman.
No, he was hanging out with MJ too much.
Yeah.
Or trying to actually be MJ more.
And
which is weird.
And lots of drugs.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. Like, and it was, I can also remember too, I remember being disappointed when I was a kid seeing like the glimpses of Toka and Razar that we got. All I wanted was Bebop and Rocksteady.
Right.
You know, and it's like they've got them.
And you'll hear about that later on the countdown.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's like they've already got Bebop and Rocksteady. Why on earth?
Why are we wasting these already established characters?
Viacom already owned them by then, right? Or is it
maybe
just Playmates?
Probably Playmates.
Either way, the property was already purchased.
Surge Productions or whatever it is.
Why on earth would they not just use? Maybe it was too difficult to make a rhino mutant.
No, I would think Mirage owned them still in 1991. I don't think they completely signed their rights over yet. Eastman and Laird were still pretty involved, or Eastman was at least.
Yeah, but it's just like that was I think that when I was a kid, that was my biggest disappointment. Was that like the with Tolka, at least it was kind of reminiscent of Slash,
right?
Which you will definitely hear later on. So there was that, and like I remember, like obviously, if anybody watching this that was alive at that time, and I'm it's been so long since I've been a kid, I don't know if they still do this, but like you see the shit and the speculation is almost as like the hype, building the hype as a kid. You see Tolkien, and you're like, oh my god, it's Slash. And then you see Razar, I'm like, I don't know who this is supposed to be. Maybe he's supposed to be fucking
what is that, a fucking dog?
Yeah, yeah, man. Like it was
you dating a fucking dog? That's okay. No, yeah, I'm with you. I totally thought it was Slash.
And it was super cool, and it was kind of it was just a letdown when you find out that they just made up new characters. Yeah, god damn it. Why'd you do this?
No, but yeah, it's the same thing with kids now. Movies aren't the same now. I would say pre-pandemic maybe, but not to the hype that like when we were kids.
Well, I think the internet, the accessibility, and also like how quick everything comes out.
Yeah, people don't rush out to go to the theaters like they did when we were kids.
Well, right, because all they got to do is wait 45 days, and it's on.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix or Disney Plus or whatever. Like it goes out.
Shit, sometimes it's on the same day as theaters now, which blows my fucking mind. Could you imagine having that access as a kid? I think I would have hated it, honestly.
I mean, I think I probably would have eaten it up. Like if I had access to the movies that I wanted to see in theaters.
Yeah, fuck, yeah, of course. But I'm just saying, like, I'm glad we grew up in the time that we did, because we had to fucking like do shit.
Yeah, it was
activities.
Yep, we had to occupy ourselves elsewhere.
Imagination,
like a little just side tangent, like the fucking Jurassic Park. Like we saw it in the theaters, in the big theater.
Yep.
And then we had to wait. Like I don't remember what it was, but like they had to be out of all the theaters before they would start getting ready to produce the VHS tape.
Yeah, that was a long one too.
And that was in theaters for over a year.
Yeah.
So it was just
Jurassic Park, and like I remember later on, like Titanic.
Yep.
That was in the movie theater for fucking ever, dude. I didn't think that thing was ever leaving. And now it's fuck, have they not milked this thing dry yet?
Yeah. And now it's 45 days. Like you're lucky if a movie sticks. Like the movie's got to be cranking in money, in order for it to stay in a theater for more than a couple weeks,
right?
And then it's like off to the dollar theaters or whatever account or.
They still have dollar theaters.
They do. They're just not $1 anymore. Like,
okay.
Like their budget theaters is a couple.
Yeah, probably like 5 instead of the normal 10 or whatever.
But
15, whatever it is. I don't even know how much it costs to go to the movies anymore. I haven't been in so long.
So 45 days from premiere to disc.
Holy shit! The last movie I saw in the theaters was Rise of the Skywalker, the last Star Wars movie. So that was what, 3 years ago now, something like that.
I think it might even be farther than that.
Fuck, I don't even know.
I don't know. I don't care.
I don't either.
I'm so over Star Wars. It's not even funny. So there's a lot of that anticipation and shit like that went into it, and that was, and I mean they delivered with the flashing colors.
Yep.
Like I was enamored by that movie when it came out, and I watched it on repeat pretty much. Like as much as rewinding and playing it over again counts as repeat.
I can't believe how well my VHS tapes held up.
Yeah.
Because literally would watch the movie, rewind it, watch it again.
Yeah.
And that goes for all 3 of these movies.
Yep.
stuff like Dumb and Dumber. I watched all the fucking time. Billy Madison, Wayne's World, all that shit, dude. Like it was like clockwork. Always had a fucking movie on, or I was watching, Power Rangers or Batman the Animated Series, shit like that. Stuff we'll talk about in length down the road sometime.
As far as I know, my original Ninja Turtles cassette, it does, although the box has been long deteriorated.
No, I wish I had all that shit
still kicking at my parents' house.
Really?
I didn't bring it when I moved out here because I wasn't bringing it. I knew the VCR wasn't coming with me, so I just left all my VHS tapes because I was literally took what I could fit into a Subaru. So like it was.
Yeah, mine are all either. My mom still has a few of ours in the house, and then like storage. But then, like my dad, all of our shit got moved down to the basement at his house. So, but I don't even know what happened. I'm sure he probably ended up leaving that in that house. So
like while it's all on the internet and readily available at a very simple couple of clicks, like it warms the subcockle regions of my heart that there's a cassette tape that's got that Family Home Entertainment bumper and the Pizza Hut commercial and all that other shit. Like it just makes me
which you saw in the intro. That was a nod to both of us, but I did it just because the way you talked about it before when we in another recording session, I was like, I gotta put this in for him.
Yeah, man. Like it really is. It just fucking like, because that's what it means to me. Like it's not even like I remember pizza parties. I remember celebrating playing a baseball game, not always winning, but like out of pizza parlors and shit like that. Not necessarily like we're from the fucking Northeast, so we didn't go to Pizza Hut. We only went to Pizza Hut for the Scholastic Book Club. That's the only time we went to Pizza Hut.
Which is funny because little Tommy just got one of those the other day, and I was like, "Yes, I still fucking do it, man."
But there's so much. But that commercial very specifically means that the Ninja Turtle VHS tape is on. Like that's what it means to me. That's where I associate it with nothing else. Mm-hmm. I know it was played on TV. Mm-hmm. I know it was fucking played at the beginning.
Anytime I remember seeing it on TV, I thought somebody was watching Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
And then
I know
it's
on other
cassettes.
I know it's on other cassettes. I know it's not exclusive to the Ninja Turtles movie, but it's where it sits in my head.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you.
And again, just like that, we're not talking about the second movie again.
Right. And it's fine. It is what it is.
Well, it is, that's it.
We said what we had to say. We said what we had to say.
Like
it's cartoony.
It is a serviceable sequel. They made some poor creative decisions.
It is still watchable though.
Yeah.
It's not awful.
No, not
like when I getting into the third movie now, March 19th. So March again. This time it was 2 years later, 93.
Mm-hmm.
Budget of 21 million, so 4 million less than 2. So how the fuck is that possible? But this one only coming in box office 54.4 million. So they went from tripling their money to doubling their money. Still, any profit is good profit on a fucking movie. So even then, you double your money. You think about it. Okay, we see a drop. Makes you wonder why there wasn't a fourth live action in the 90s.
If the way that it works now is the same as the way that it worked then, I can understand.
Yeah.
The way they say it, that they spend 2 times the budget on marketing alone. So a movie generally has to at minimum triple the published budget in order to be considered a success.
Which is why they pumped the second one out after the first one, because they're like, fuck, we got a fucking gold mine. Let's hit it strike it while the iron's hot, baby.
So if the box office was double the budget, then they probably didn't make their money back. And ultimately, and that probably killed them.
Well, and I mean, at that point, 93, I mean, I was still young.
Yep.
I mean, if they would have pumped another one out in 2 years, 95, the greatest summer of my life, give me Ninja Turtles 4.
Yep. I'm not saying I wouldn't have seen them.
Yeah.
But I can understand. I
totally get it as an adult.
Yeah. New Line was probably like, well, this turtle thing is dead.
Yeah.
It's like it has nothing to do with the fact that you just made a shit movie. Like,
yeah, the movie fucking sucked. Even then, even as a kid, I watched it. And I was like, eh. I mean, I still got the VHS after seeing the theater. Said meh after seeing it, but because you had to have it because it was there. I remember I was actually visiting my grandparents, and when the VHS came out, and went to a Walmart and got it. I remember the day because my grandpa had a doctor's appointment, so we went. We drove with them. And then, like, I remember, like, that was back in the day, still were, like, old people. Like, because my grandparents were a lot older than most of my friends' grandparents. My mom's parents. So I remember, like, they had still thought it was okay for a child to sit in the front. They had, like, the bench seat.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oh, I remember.
That was still okay. Well. But, yeah, I'll never forget that. Like, I remember we got KFC. And then we went to Walmart. And walked in and I saw it and I was just like, even though I'd already seen it in theaters, I already said the movie sucked, but just seeing the display and they're in their samurai gear on the horses, and I'm like, oh my God, I have to have it. My grandpa's like, what is this stupid shit?
Yep.
And bought it for me anyways.
Yeah, man. And I'm not gonna lie, I watched the shit out of that movie. Like when it came out, I was not enlightened enough to realize that it was a bad movie when it was on. All I saw was live action turtles, and I was cool with it.
But even like, I might not have noticed it in the theaters, but I know I noticed it as a kid on the VHS, the fucking eye holes.
Yeah.
It was really obnoxious. But I liked the story. The story was okay.
It was
somewhat.
It was. Like, it wasn't bad, and it
I
wasn't.
wanted to believe it was something to do with Turtles in Time, though. The video game.
I'm sure, and I get that, and I have no doubt in my mind that was the catalyst.
Yeah.
To make part 3.
I thought the lamp thing was fucking cool.
Yeah, there was. I've seen some in most of the American releases. I don't remember it ever being called Ninja Turtles 3: Turtles in Time.
But Europe, right?
Yeah, somewhere else. I don't know where it's from. Some English-speaking country, but it said "Turtles in Time" on the poster.
I remember seeing this as well.
And
I don't know if it was recently or if it's just in my head or maybe it's a fucking Mandela effect. I don't know what it is.
But and also, they probably could have made their money back. All of it, including the unreported budget or marketing budget stuff, if they did if they called it Turtles in Time in the United States, because of the fucking video game. Even on
Amazon it says Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3: Turtles in Time Blu-ray.
Yeah,
but I think that's like a third-party seller. Let me see Wikipedia here. If they've got it on here where it might have been called that. I'm not seeing it. Jesus Christ. Talking about the cuts and everything.
Yeah.
The nunchucks. Also known as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3: Turtles in Time. Okay, but you're not telling me where.
Yeah,
because I've seen that too, and I want to know where it was. But I remember having that poster on my wall of the third movie.
Yeah,
the sun.
Yep. Cool shot.
Yeah, it is.
Definitely a cool shot, and there was a lot. It's almost like they just dropped the ball on certain aspects of it, like the idea, like the whole swapping with the samurai and all that stuff. Like, there's nothing weird about that, really.
Right?
Like,
it makes sense.
It's a movie about fucking humanoid mutant turtles. Like, you know, like I know some of the critiques I've either listened to or read of the movie is just like, this is just ridiculous. It's like, you're talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
So is pro wrestling, but we watched that too.
It's idiotic. Like, it's what it's one of the reasons, like, especially like the older I got, I fucking hated Siskel and Ebert. Because they would critique these genre movies as if they were like going for like as if they were supposed to be Oscar bait or something. And
nine times out of 10, if Siskel and Ebert gave it 2 thumbs up, I gave it 2 thumbs up your ass, because it was something I wasn't gonna watch.
Right. Whenever they came out against a movie, I would usually be like,
yeah,
well,
I need to see this.
Obviously, one I need to see.
Ace Ventura.
Yeah.
Any classics. Jim Carrey. Fucking
yeah. It's like, yeah, go fucking get your head out of your ass.
Yeah. I still don't. I mean, maybe that comes with being a hardcore Kiss fan. Don't ever listen to a fucking critic. Don't. Because your opinion is your own. Nobody's ever going to change it.
Right. And there's a, you know, kind of a movement nowadays where everybody, like, if you're like, they're treating critics like they're like fucking, you know, the Greek scholars, like the Greek philosophers.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, no.
That's one thing that drives me absolutely fucking nuts, is how can, just because you're a critic, and I'm not saying all of them, because some of them I would classify in this group, but how is a critic classified automatically as a historian?
Right.
A historian to me is somebody who has dedicated their fucking adult life, devoted to one thing.
Yeah.
That's a historian.
And like there's also,
or even a couple of things, you know,
like you can study film and like film theory and stuff like that, and you can apply it. You know, kind of like, you know, it's like remember the old days of the overhead projector? Like you've got that, there's a structure that you can have on a transparency, and you can kind of lay it over the structure of the movie, and if it meets the criteria, you can do all that stuff, and you can pick it apart. But then, like, at the end of it, then you've got like your Siskel's and Eberts, where you're like, it's like, I do not recommend this movie. You should not see this movie. Then
I'm going to see it.
Yeah, if you watch this movie, then you are amoral or immoral and horrible, terrible person. It's just like,
you're an idiot if you pay money to see this
off
movie.
Your goddamn high horse, you pompous ass.
Yeah,
like,
what have you ever created?
Yeah,
that's what I want to see.
Yeah, nowadays it's like instead of just being like, yeah, it wasn't for me, you got to tear it down, because it's like, whatever, make it something that it's not, or whatever. Like I've ever since I was very little, because all of my favorite things were ripped to shreds, and that's where my bias lies. But the fucking like all of my favorite things were torn to shreds by critics.
The best part about it was when your parents just ripped it to fucking shreds.
Right. Well, that's, and like that made more sense
to me. Come
on,
man. Yeah. Just like one thing that I like.
Yeah. Like, what's with this stupid nonsense? Like, why are you wasting your time? Go out and fucking throw a baseball. Why are you watching these goddamn puppets? Like,
we're gonna throw a knuckleball or I won't love you anymore.
Yeah. Faced with the harsh realities of life.
Have a 40-year career in the MLB. Throw the knuckleball.
But yeah, like it's so the third one, like I don't even know, it's not even that, like it gets the bad rap. It's kind of ridiculous. It's even more child friendly.
It's kind of, we're talking about a fucking franchise of 4 mutant turtle brothers.
No, like in the context of 4 mutant turtle brothers,
it's still ridiculous.
Yeah,
but it's not Next Mutation ridiculous.
No, and like, yeah, I mean, they all still hold a very, like, a place in my heart as a massive chunk of my childhood.
Nothing will ever change that. I'll be, if I make it to 80 years old, and for whatever reason, my great grandkids or whatever I have at that point, probably great, the way the fucking kids are going these days.
Yeah.
But I don't think I would have a problem watching it or thinking it was stupid then, even.
Could you imagine, like, sometimes I because of the stuff that I grew up on, the media that I grew up on, big fan of dystopian like fiction.
Yeah.
Just in general. So then, and then I kind of go off on my tangents in my own head where I start thinking about possible dystopian futures. You think of Reign of Fire. You ever see that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Where they're Christian Bale and Gerard Butler's characters telling the story of Star Wars.
Yeah.
To the kids. Like, could you imagine? Just like, so anyway, there's these turtles, right? And they get this green goo on, and you're doing that. You're telling the story of the Ninja Turtles to a bunch of kids that have like never seen a TV or anything like that.
But then 20 years later, some piece of shit tried to make another movie, and they dumped the mutagen on them when they were already mutated, and it turned them into a human being or his hand. But still, how does that make fucking sense? And the kid's like, "What?"
Yeah, you just start going off on fucking
their head fucking explodes.
On nerd rants. You're not trying to help them grow as humans anymore. You're using your fucking soapbox.
Back in my day when shit was good, which is basically what we're doing now.
You're airing your grievances at Michael Bay at a bunch of kids in a
60 years
in
later.
a cave. Yeah, in a cave.
His head's been frozen for 40 years already.
Yeah.
I'm still going off about it. He ruined the franchise. Piece of shit.
Fucking guy. Man, this is the same
First
guy.
Transformers, now this.
Yeah, the same guy that made fucking gems like The Rock and Bad Boys 2.
My wife loves Bad Boys 2.
Who doesn't love Bad Boys 2?
I mean,
Boys.
I like it, but
the only
she's
thing
like always like, let's watch Bad Boys 2. I'm like, why can't we watch Bad Boys 1 first?
I mean, Bad Boys 2 is by far the superior movie.
Yeah.
Like when you think about
it's like Rush Hour. I like Rush Hour 2 better.
Yeah. Hot Fuzz.
Yeah.
When he's just like, you've never seen Bad Boys 2. If you've never seen Bad Boys 2, you've probably never seen Bad Boys 1 in the context of those characters having that conversation. But he doesn't even think about fucking showing him Bad Boys 1. You show him and go immediately to 2.
I don't know. If I'm going to watch them, I want to watch 1 and 2.
That was the peak. That was the peak of Michael Bay's career. Was Bad
But
Boys
you
2.
know what?
I think that's why.
Speaking of
everything after that was downhill.
Speaking of sequels, next month we're doing Back to the Future. Spoiler alert, next month is Back to the Future. But there are people who don't like the first movie.
Yeah.
And they'll go straight to the second one.
Yeah.
Because they say, well, we get enough of the first one in the second one.
Right. And there's also, I will say that it was a similar situation because they took Back to the Future, which was silly as it was not a children's movie.
Right.
But then they were like, well, this made all the money. The only way to make more money is with merchandising. Then the only way to make money with merchandising is to merchandise or to target children.
Merchandise merchandise.
Yeah, yeah. So
but now
all this stuff in there. That's
we'll talk about it next month.
Yeah. But they did
because I was about to go off on a
God damn it
Back to the Future tangent.
So the games, I mean, fuck, man. Like as we mentioned in the top 10, the arcade game was king.
Yes.
But all the arcade games. The original Nintendo game was the fucking worst.
What? Okay.
I hated it so much.
All right. Here's what I wanted. This is the perfect part of the show. So I hated it as a kid.
Yeah.
But now that I'm an adult and I can kind of and having access to the internet, so how to beat levels, it's not that fucking bad. But there's people who are split on it. There are people that are like me now and have changed their mind and have since played it again as an adult and said it's good.
I have not played it.
Really fucking hard is the problem.
Yeah. And while that's all good and fine, and games you shouldn't just be able to fucking
I never liked
skate
that.
Through.
If I don't get pissed off and throw a controller, there's an issue.
Right. And it was just it just seemed so impossible to figure out. And by the time any kind of a assistance, guide or anything like that would have come out for it, and I don't even remember
already moved on.
Well, they were the arcade game had already come out for NES.
Yeah.
And what other game do you need at that point? At that point, being able to play the Nintendo or the Ninja Turtles arcade game on your fucking 8-inch dial TV, just like the one that's surrounding your camera right now. Like,
I had a TV just like this.
yeah, like being able to play the arcade game on that, regardless of the graphics or anything like that,
didn't care. I mean, back then those were badass.
Goddamn game changer.
Yeah.
Like it was it was very clearly dumbed down and stuff like that. I remember that was one of the things, just like, why does it look like this? And it didn't dawn on me that the
sprites were all fucked up. Like,
yeah, that the arcade was like
far
obviously
superior.
like far superior and capable of superior graphics as well.
Well, even later on with Hyperstone Heist and Turtles in Time on Sega, I mean, they weren't perfect.
No,
still fucking badass though. And the fact that you didn't have to go to the fucking arcade and spend $20 in 30 minutes to play it was fucking badass.
At which point, I mean, obviously it's a trade-off.
Yeah,
but like you had to earn your extra lives. You couldn't just pop in another quarter.
Right.
You had to get 100 points, or kill 100 guys to get another life. It was.
But that was our thing when I moved to Arkansas and I would go back to New Jersey in the summer. That was the day one. Like, I get off the plane, get to our house, throw my suitcase in mine and my brother's room because we shared like the upstairs. And he's like, "All right, it's Turtles time.
Yeah.
But I mean, every fucking summer, dude, it didn't matter how old I was. That's what we did.
Yeah,
he wouldn't even have the Sega in the room sometimes. Like, he'd already moved on to other shit. Like, but we'd still break out the old systems because it was like we were making up for lost time. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Because we'd go a full year without seeing each other. So, so that game's always going to hold a special place in my life.
The 16-bit was a game changer. That's because as far as I know, that was, especially back in the NES days, all the arcade games were 16-bit. So the home system graphics were matching the arcade game, and like that's when you started getting that, because it still drives me nuts when I play them now. How figuring out and I've never actually seen a comprehensive how you throw the foot soldiers at the screen.
Oh yeah.
And you just kind of had to fucking play until
because to beat them up
in Hyperstone Heist and in Turtles in Time, because they're the same fucking
same game.
Just one licensed to Sega. Towards the end, or it was
there's one level that's different. I think Turtles in Time has one of them has one level that's added.
Right. And then probably Turtles in Time. They probably took one out for Hyperstone Heist because it was I mean, not for nothing. Sega was all the good licenses were with Nintendo.
We had
Sega got all.
I don't even know why we had both, honestly. But we did.
They I mean, that's how they get you.
Yeah.
It's the same Turtles game,
but I guess
Hyperstone
Heist came out first, right, on Sega?
I don't remember.
And then
honestly, I was a Sega kid. I didn't have Super Nintendo, so I whatever the hell came out on Sega that was all I had.
Yeah. So at my mom's I had a Super Nintendo. At my dad's we had Sega. So I had the best of both worlds, but it sucked because I liked Sega better, but I didn't have it all the time.
Right.
I gotta look this up because it's gonna drive me nuts. All right, so Hyperstone Heist, December 11th, 1992, just in time for Christmas.
Right, of course.
Wow, what a piece of shit.
But there's what I was saying is there's that one level where Shredder's in like a mech, and the only way to kill him is to throw foot soldiers.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird. It's the first time, and I don't know if I've ever seen it since, where you're fighting the boss from the boss's point of view. Because Shredder's in that mech, and you just see the crosshairs wherever he's aiming his missiles and shit like that. And the only way to hit him is to throw the foot soldiers at him. And I remember we always used to think that it was you just had to kind of rotate the D-pad at the same time as hitting a particular attack button, and like it was all horseshit. As far as I know, I've never heard that confirmed, and I've never actually heard anybody say how you're supposed to fucking throw foot soldiers. And it's just this thing, and like even to the point where when they did the remaster of Turtles in Time for Xbox, I remember sitting there playing it, and I'm like trying to like use the joystick, the directional joystick, in a circular fashion, whilst also attacking the foot soldiers, trying to get them tossed at the screen. Just in the first fucking the first level, just trying to master it, so that way by the time I get to Shredder, it's going to be like I'll know what I'm doing.
Right.
But yeah, man, that was all the arcade games were fucking.
So hang on.
Cheaters.
So my mind just got blown. Turtles in Time only came out on Super Nintendo.
I'm aware of that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like Turtles in Time was because that was the name of the arcade game, and so that and when I was saying,
so maybe we
Nintendo
just played
got all the
that
good licenses
later on. Because I mean, at first I had Super at my mom's and then Sega at my dad's, but then later on my brother got a Super. So maybe we played that later on. Fucking lines get blurred, man, when you get old. Shit.
Yeah. But but I was saying Hyperstone Heist.
So I had Turtles in Time at my mom's.
Yeah.
Fuck, man, that just fucking blew my mind, dude. Oh well, I like learning.
Yeah. It's kind of one of the like the secondary cool things about this show.
Holy shit,
like,
man!
We're going back into things that we just kind of thought we retained, and then find out that like Mandela effect and shit like that.
That's a Mandela effect, right? Because I was like, fuck, I could have swore we fucking played it on Sega.
No, then
wow.
looking at some like emulators and shit like that too. Like you see like when you get like the other countries' releases.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Maybe Turtles. That's what it is.
Like another because there's like a Turtles in Time.
Not that I play emulators or anything.
Oh, well, who does that?
Not that there's anything wrong with that. I don't.
Nothing at all. But yeah, man, that was so much time. And then they released a couple of really good games since. Like they did obviously the remaster on Xbox.
Yeah.
Of Turtles in Time. Like that was. And I wish they would do it again. And also, there's something like Shredder's Revenge. I think it's called,
dude, I can't wait for it, dude.
Yeah, I'm fucking stoked,
dude. I'm getting that day one on the fucking Switch.
They did. It wasn't the.
It is coming out on the Switch, right? I think it is. I hope so. I'd rather play it on the Switch than.
They did. It was kind of like a weird, like, top-down hack and slash for the Xbox, and it was the
yeah we played that. Yeah, that was okay.
It was it was just the only thing was it was the I think it was based on the
it's computer version. It's Windows and Switch only, by the way. Shredder's Revenge. Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, if it's coming to Windows, then if it's coming to PC, you'll eventually get it for Xbox.
Yeah, one way or the other. I'm not too terribly worried about it. I'll figure out a way to play it. But
I'll make my own ways.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. There is something wrong with that. It's called copyright infringement. Don't do that.
No, I think I have one computer that's strong enough to play computer games, so we'll just use that one. But yeah, man, the amount of because and that's the funny thing about it is that like the amount of money that we used to dump in the arcade machines, and then every game that came out for a home system, you'd just beg your parents to get them.
Yeah, and they were only $80. No big deal.
Only $80.
Yeah, and we bitch about $60 now.
Yeah. And then like just continuing into adulthood, like every time there was a new Ninja Turtles game, I'd pretty much always get it.
Yeah.
Like especially if it was a callback or a throwback, you know what I mean? Like if it.
Well, I was getting them on systems they didn't even come out on for somehow. I don't know. Maybe my dad knew it got fucked. I don't know.
Yeah, it was jailbreaking Sega Genesis before
it was a thing.
Yeah.
Well, now they're fucking faking all of them.
Yeah,
you gotta watch it. Apparently, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know
all the minis and stuff like that.
Well, that and people were like use an emulator and like put it in cartridges and shit, and it's not even actually the game.
Oh yeah.
That's fucked up. Like, and then trying to sell it off, and like I guess people in like game stores are like taught to know the difference between a real one and a fake one.
Yeah.
Which I mean, as long as it plays, I don't give a shit. I'll buy a fake Sega game for $2 compared to paying $40 for it or whatever they are now. Dude, I went back and I had to rebuy a Sega, and I got in right after high school. I got back into it. Me and my friends, we moved off to the college town. They went to college. I just went to party. And so we got back into like retro gaming, and I got in on it at the right time because the Sega I got at a vintage stock was like $40, and now they're like 300.
Yeah.
Which is fucking insanity. But I wish I would have, because I've moved so many times even since then that I lost a lot of my fucking games. And I'm pissed because I was getting them for $1.99, $2.99.
Yeah.
You know, some of the bigger titles, you know, like Turtles and shit like that, it was like you might pay $8.99. But now they're like 40 fucking bucks.
Yeah,
and if you with the box and the fucking manual, they're like 150. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, the comic book store that I used to go to, they had like a used VHS right next to a used cartridge games. And yeah, it was like Sega and Super Nintendo fucking
Sega.
Man, like I remember when I got my hands on Contra 3 and like shit like that. Yeah, it's fucking, I loved it. And then I remember I had an uncle that had like, he was obsessed. Like he loved Sega for the NHL games. But then he would just buy all these other games too. Like he had like 32X or whatever. And then one day he was just like, hey, he called me up and he's like, hey, you want all this Sega stuff? I got to get rid of it.
Well, we're talking about Sega. Keep talking, but I'm going to grab something.
Yeah. When he called me up, asked if I wanted the Sega, I said yes. And then I walked out of his garage with like 3 contractor bags full of games that took up like 2 bookshelves. And it was glorious. And I had a giant bookshelf that was nothing but Sega games, and another smaller one with like 32X games that I never played. There it is. Oh fuck! God, I hate that game.
I do too, but
it's so bad.
I had to have it.
Of course.
Yeah, I got this. I want to say like 3 years ago. We were like prepping for a snowstorm, and I was like, fuck. I was like, let's go check out the antique store that has the video games, the retro games. So we went and I got that. I was just trying to replace a couple that I had lost. They didn't have Hyperstone Heist or Turtles in Time because that didn't come out on fucking Sega. But I got that. I got Amanda, Aladdin, and Lion King, which those are fucking hard, and I don't like them.
Yeah,
I found that out later on. Also, Toy Story is fucking very difficult. Fuck Disney Sega games. But then I got myself Beavis and Butthead, which is a fucking hard game. So fucking hard, but it's fun. I like the challenge, and I want the Gore tickets back. Come on.
Yeah. When
we got to do like just a fucking Sega.
We could.
Yeah.
Like, and honestly, we should.
We should.
Like just a whole episode on the way that we used to game back in the 90s.
Yeah.
But what else is? But oh god, Tournament Fighters. Well, I remember the Tournament Fighters. It was a new Ninja Turtles game, so I begged my mother to get it.
93. That's when it came out.
Yeah, I begged my mother to get it, and it was holy shit, man. Fucking, it was just the worst. And I remember too because and as far as
it was basically just trying to be fucking Mortal Kombat and Street Fighters. Is all it was. The cool thing about it was you could make the turtles fight each other.
Yeah,
that was cool. And I mean, it had a decent amount of characters in it.
Yeah, the thing that kind of cracked me up, like thinking back on it, I remember I used to because I made such a stink about getting the game. If my mother ever saw me playing something else, she would
Oh, like going back to like an old game or something.
Yeah. She'd like,
what about that new
like,
game?
Yeah, she'd go into me about it. Like fucking like and it was so
rightfully so.
A lot of right. And
shout out to Mrs. Mudarksi.
Yeah, what it was, it made sense. So like I don't give her shit about it, or right. In hindsight or whatever. But it was always funny is like if I heard my mother coming down the stairs, I had to like quick like
rip the cartridge out,
rip the cartridge out, and put that one in there. And
I'm just resetting it.
Yeah. It's fine. I'm playing. Look, ha ha ha. Fucking
mind your P's and Q's, Joanne. I don't know your mom's name, but I'm assuming that's what it is. We'll go with it.
Mudarski for now.
Yeah.
It was just it's just not a good game. Like the mechanics were horrible. Like I mean, like we grew up on Mortal Kombat.
Right, as soon as we're done, I'm putting it on.
Yeah, it was wow.
Live stream it from my phone.
Yeah.
Oh, so bad. It's a piece of shit, but
it like of all of the
I mean, if they would have had Hyperstone Heist at the store at the time, I would have got that. Yeah, but
I was like, there now. You've got it. It's like,
I got it for the logo.
And like I would say that if there is one stinker out of all the Ninja Turtles games, it's that.
I was happy to share it with you.
Yeah, it just I mean, I don't know, because there was no adventure in it. Like the story was gonna you know what I mean? Like,
just
like the whole point of Ninja Turtles is to be a Ninja Turtle,
right?
To fucking rescue April or Splinter and just beat the crap out of fucking foot soldiers. Yeah. Like beat the crap out of foot soldiers, fight Shredder, and be goddamn done with it. Like the 3D side scroller or any hack and slash kind of style that's how Ninja Turtles should be played.
Yep.
Always. When we played the arcade game when I was a kid, if the only because there's 4 players and if 3 people were already there and all that was left was Leonardo, I just didn't play.
Just walk away.
I just walk away. Just wait. Because
go play the Simpsons arcade game.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't. I've told you before. I don't like blue. It's not my.
I love blue.
Probably, it's one of my least favorite colors. Which is it's like a point of contention when I have to like buying sports memorabilia. Like because one of my teams, it's the Mets, so it's blue. Like there's blue all over the place. And
but you could also get the black and orange.
Well, right, and that's what I wind up having to do.
Yeah.
Although ever since I learned, because I didn't know for the longest time, because I always wonder what teams are thinking when they choose the blue and orange color combination. Like same goes for Denver. Like I'm not a fan by any means, but I hate the scheme. I hate the color scheme. But it actually makes sense for the Mets.
Yeah.
Combining the Dodgers and the blue of the Dodgers and the orange of the Giants for to replace like the Mets being the replacement team for those two that left. Like the just like the story of it it's fucking fantastic. But yeah, so I don't like blue. So fuck Leonardo. Yeah, and he's a narc. So
what we're doing here to wrap up this episode, the first episode of Who Popped Your Culture, we're gonna do a top 5 or 10 list.
Yeah.
And we've both decided that one of the turtles isn't even making that list, whether we do 5 or 10.
Can confirm in that turtle, obviously is Leonardo, because
he sucks. And he's a bitch.
Yeah.
But what I was saying before was I can't think of one representation of that character that I've ever liked.
No.
I mean, I had his figure when I was a kid, of course, because you had to have them all.
Sure.
But I don't remember like having to go out of my way to like play with him as a character. Like he'd just kind of be like standing off to the side.
Yeah. He's like, it's because I mean, how can you pretend to be that? Like, I mean, swords are cool and all.
Yeah.
And I feel like I almost get the impression
weapons wise, he's got cool weapons.
Yeah, I get the impression that they gave, and there's no confirmation here, but that they gave him the sword, so it was just like, all right, well, he's the blandest character in this entire fucking story.
He's supposed to be the leader,
right? And so, but like we got to redeem him somehow. And people love swords. Kids love swords.
Mm-hmm.
You know. But even like when I would get those plastic white katanas from the county fair, like I wasn't pretending to be Leonardo when I played with them. I was just some other ninja.
Yeah, just like a generic ninja.
Yeah. That's it. I would I'd tie up my shirt around my head, and I'd like look out the neck hole like a fucking ninja, and I'd play that ninja game.
So you got 5. Can you get 10?
I mean, yeah, probably. I can do like here today. I've got more than 5.
Okay. Do you want me? I can start at 10.
Yeah. Kick it off.
Okay. So my number 10, and this goes back more to the obviously the cartoon style of these characters for the most part, and then some it's more movies, but a lot of it's the OG 87 cartoon series. So number 10, kicking it off, I've got Krang, because he was like the main bad. Like Shredder was like kind of his bitch, even though Shredder was way more badass.
Yeah.
But Krang was like the fucking mastermind.
Yeah.
So I felt like I have to have him on the list. And I mean, the toys were cool. Like not the original, but like once you got like the big like robotic to put Krang in the middle, because like the original he's just like on like fucking stilts and it's stupid.
I think I would agree with that. You kind of have to have him on the list.
Yeah.
And I mean I will say that there's one aspect of Krang that always just, I mean, he's as a bad guy, it's perfectly
his voice.
But well, yeah, but like the almost like the watery nature of his voice, like the weird vibrato that the VO guy did for that.
Yeah,
like it was perfect.
Right.
But it always just like it's like nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah,
man.
it's
like,
very cringy, especially if you go back now and watch it. Like
Yeah.
I watched a few just to kind of prep for all of this. I didn't want to go back and watch the whole series. That's too much.
It's a lot.
And once you get past like I'd say like the first 3 seasons, it's so watered down, it's pointless. Like once the movie started coming out, like the cartoon was like back burner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we discussed it the last time we recorded. It like the movies get played like maybe not the third one so often, but even every once in a while I watch the third one too.
It still has its charm.
Yeah,
you get Casey Jones from the OG, you get April from the second, and then they're in one together. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
but as far as Krang goes, though, just to kind of wrap up that, like the fact that he was never in the original trilogy of movies always bummed me out as a kid. And there's more on my list that will come that didn't make that run, but I always found that to be a crime. And then when the Michael Bay movies came out, like, I don't know. The thing about the Michael Bay movies was they fucking just made Shredder out to be this giant puss bag, which I was never a fan of.
Well, I mean, I just can't. I had to finish them. I started watching those 2 movies at least a dozen times, and I never finished them. I just couldn't bring myself to fucking do it. Like
the only reason I watched it was because my kids got into Turtles, so we took them to the theater to see those movies. But other than that, like once, like I bought them the Blu-rays and stuff, but I don't even think they ever even opened the second one, honestly. But they've just made the Turtles too fucking big. Like the Turtles in the original movies are supposed to be like 5'6", 5'7", somewhere around there, like $180 maybe. Yeah. And then like in the Michael Bay movies, they're giant.
Yeah, like it's like the opposite. I mean, it's the exact like in the going back and reading the comic book, and you see them like standing next to people, and they're fucking
they're normal, like normal average size.
Short, even.
Yeah.
Like they're like
my height.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna go there, but
it's fine.
Yeah, it was I don't know that, and obviously they play fast and loose with the mutation aspect already, but like that when they discover the anti-mutagen or mutagen in the Michael Bay ones, and like he puts it on his hand and his hand turns into a human hand. I'm just like, I don't.
Why would that work that way? Wouldn't he just become a smaller turtle?
Yeah, it's just a turtle again.
Why would he anti-mutagen? Why is he turning into human? He was never human. It makes zero fuck. Those movies make no sense. Is the problem?
Yeah,
they're trash.
Yeah, and there was, I don't know, like there. I think the only redeeming quality of those movies is Tyler Perry is Baxter Stockman.
Baxter Stockman, yeah.
Yeah, like that was cool.
That was fine. Yeah, I'm not a fan of his movies generally, but yeah, in that role, he was okay.
Well, no, because calling back to the comic books.
Yeah,
like the same thing with the was it the 2003 show?
Mm-hmm.
Like Baxter Stockman was a black man.
Yeah. And then, it was 87 series, they got to turn him into a nerdy white guy because he has to be a scientist.
Right.
Because that's fair.
Right. Oh man.
Anyways,
the 80s.
Who would you put as your 10?
I would I think I'd probably toss I feel like Krang's definitely he's because he's got to be on the list, but I wouldn't put him in. It's not really my favorite at all.
But you agree with me. That's kind of why I have him at 10. I felt like I'd be doing a disservice if I didn't have him on the list. But he can't be higher than 10 because he's not a great character.
Yeah.
But he's still better than Leonardo.
Yep. Oh, fuck yes.
So I guess we can agree on 10, and then I can move on while you're working.
I'm actually out. Holy shit. I guess I can. I guess I'm fucking with even combining some. I'm able to do for the most part to get it.
You've got it to 10?
10. Yeah.
Adding Krang is 10?
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's perfect. He's a great villain. It's a great design. It's creepy as fuck.
It's a fucking veiny brain.
Brain with tentacles.
Yeah.
It was very off-putting. So it was a good decision on their part for sure.
Yeah.
And I would agree. That he's got the 10 spot.
And that's kind of like the whole point is he's the brain of the operation. Shredder's the muscle.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'll move on. I'll move on to 9. So my 9 spot, it's the one representation you get of a female character in the show or the movies. So I feel like she has to be on the list. April O'Neil, obviously.
Hi.
Oh my god, I'm dead!
It's okay.
Oh no, I'm dreaming. I must be dreaming. Okay.
And without her, the story doesn't go as far. She's almost okay. So you go the 4 Turtles, Splinter, Casey Jones, and then April. That's kind of your good rundown.
Yeah.
So, but without her, especially in the movies, she did a lot in those movies compared to the cartoon. She did a little bit. She was important, but in the movies, she was that ideal character. And having sisters and stuff, that was one way that I could get them into watching Turtles with me, was because they had this kind of tougher, broad. She was a reporter, but she was a tough chick too.
Yeah. That was always just essentially doing what she was told not to do, and half the time it got her in trouble, and half the time it was it was the main driving force of the entire episode. Whatever, she discovers whatever needs to be done, and then the turtles kind of come in and fix it, and then sometimes she helps, sometimes she doesn't. But
and she's their link to the outside world.
Mm-hmm.
Because without her, I mean, we get Raph in disguise in the movie. That's what it ends with, him walking out of critters.
Yeah,
that's the end of the movie.
Yep.
I guess me and Casey Jones, but who would you put at 9?
I'm mirroring you again. Looking at my list. I got 1 through 8, and she's not on it yet. So it's like, but she,
it works, whatever. I mean, that's less, because I mean, obviously, like before the ending segment, which would be this, like we're gonna talk about all these characters at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So to just sit here and like kind of go off on a tangent is kind of repetitive, but you also have to have a reason why they're in that spot.
Yeah. Like, I mean, she again, like Krang, she needs to be on this list, whether it doesn't matter where. 10 doesn't make the character a shitty character.
No,
nor
to even, I mean, there's characters on this list that aren't on this list that could have easily been on the list.
Right. And when you, like, if you look, like, you pull up the Wikipedia page of the Ninja Turtles characters, like, it's not short.
No.
So making a top 10 list of characters in the show, or this property, is pretty good.
And I mean,
good.
I'm sure there's a lot of people's list, and I mean, you can put it in the comments and YouTube or whatever, give us your list. And I mean, there's a lot of lists that April would probably be top 5. There's a lot of people that probably just 1, 2, 3, 4 turtles. April could be easily their number 5.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so 8, it's one of the turtles. That's how low. But I mean, it's a supporting character, especially in the first movie. It's Raphael.
Home run! Raphael wins 1-0! Damn!
Huh.
I don't like red. So that was always a turnoff to me as a kid. But his fucking attitude is just so great. That puts him above Leonardo on my scale. But, and the fact that we got, I mean, the dams in the movie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that was moments
so
that we fucking will never forget as children in the theater watching that movie.
Yeah.
That was a big deal.
It's funny too, is that, like, I don't know if they tried to erase it or whatever, but like 5 years prior to that, when they did the Transformers movie, like they swear in that.
Yeah.
Like Bumblebee screams shit.
Yeah.
In a PG movie. And it was I mean, I didn't learn about that until I was way older. But
well, and the rating
the
systems back then were a little different too, because the James Bond movies were originally PG, and they should not have been that.
Yeah, Howard the Duck was PG.
Yeah,
and you got
definitely not
the
duck tits,
duck nipples. Yeah, duck nipples in the first 30 seconds of the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, the
shaped us all as young men.
Yeah. The dams were so edgy, and in hindsight, it's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. It like the first one, kind of cool, but when he screams it, it's like, all right.
Yeah.
He couldn't have said fuck.
Yeah.
Scream fuck.
I mean, yeah, and you know damn well, in a real life scenario,
you're screaming fuck.
Of course.
But no, I mean, still, and like I said before, mentioning, him walking out of critters and going into the park, and before he goes to the park, he trips the guy with just trying to mug the old broad, and then and then the Jose Canseco bat thing. Tell me you didn't pay for that. That's one of my favorite lines.
Oh yeah,
because even as a Yankees fan, like, I mean, I know he played for him later on, but like Jose Canseco was still pretty cool because he was. You could tell he was He was like a superhero. He really was.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just thought he was a good character. Some would even say, like, even in the comics, he was almost kind of like the de facto leader.
Yep.
And they all had red originally.
Yeah, right.
So,
and it's funny to me as well. Is at the end of that movie when the TURTL or TURTLE power in the song.
Yeah.
Is like and where he says Raphael, he's the leader of the group. And I'm like, did they watch this movie before they recorded this song?
Partners in Crime? I don't know, maybe not.
Yeah, probably not.
They got close. And I mean, but Raph is kind of the main character.
Oh yeah, in that movie for sure.
What is the
I mean, and he's always the one, like, he's always getting himself into trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And then like that's the other driving. Usually there's the two driving forces. Usually in the cartoon, it was usually April uncovering some plot. And then in the more, I don't even call them adult stuff because all of them were made for children. But like in the movies, it was always Raph running off and getting in trouble and then having to the rest of them having to come and rescue him. Like in the second one where he tries to run off on his own with Kino, and they try to take down the foot that way, and then the rest of them got to come in and save him. But that's him. That's his wildfire personality. Yeah, he's always going rogue. Yeah. All right. So who do you have at 8? At 8, I've got Shredder. Okay.
Master Shredder.
He's it's not one of my favorites per se. Like he's I don't know, he's a cool looking fucking samurai with spikes all over him, and you can't argue with that. He's higher up on my list, so I'm gonna save mine for when I get to it. And I'll tell you, and I will say this, and it probably had influence my decision to put him down so low, is I hated his fucking toy. The OG? Yeah. Like the little purple that stood all fucking weird? Yeah. And that's exactly why. Yeah. Because he would never ever stand up on his own. Yeah. Like I don't know. It was just the weirdest. The model of it, it was a weird stance they put him in. To be the main bad guy. Yeah, it was not. It also, like, it didn't, and I mean, because the toys were that particular toy, like, I'm trying to think of the word, but like the way, like how skinny he was, and they could have done a lot more. It was very strange. The movie Shredder toy wasn't as bad. No. And then the Super Shredder toy was pretty fucking cool. Yeah. Shout out to then now the Super Shredder fucking NECA toy is that's what I mean. Incredible. Yeah. And even like the movie NECA figure is amazing. But I'm talking like the old movie Turtles from like the original line. Yep. That Shredder, like the purple. Yep. It was much better than the original Shredder. Much better. All right. So at number 7, I've got Rocksteady. Mm-hmm. Another villain, didn't make it into the movies, but the cartoon and the games, probably one of the best characters and great toy. Mm-hmm. I always thought it was a fucking shame they didn't use him in the movie or any of the movies until the unfortunate events of Michael Bay. I have Bebop / Rocksteady. Okay. as my number 6 because they are together always.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. Of course not. But it's super. It's just super cool. And they were like they were the first. They were the first other mutants besides Splinter and the Turtles. And like they were Warthog, Rhino, fucking cool as shit, man. Like they're
stupid but tough brute forces,
and they're hilarious.
Yeah,
like as far as characters go, like they're just goofy idiots, but super powerful. And it was actually those two were one of the reasons that actually the only reason I watched the second Michael Bay movie at all
was because they were in it.
And I wanted to see what they did with it. And they were the only good part of it. Like at all. It was
Seamus was excellent, I thought.
Yep. Yes, that's right. I forgot about it.
Yeah.
I forgot everything else about that movie.
Yeah. I thought he did a great job.
Yeah.
And that's not just being a wrestling fan. That's just, I thought that was a good casting choice. Where am I? Oh, 6. I've got, I mean, you could say he's almost probably, I mean, he's basically the reason why all of this is happening. Splinter.
I have always liked Cowabunga.
Huh?
I made a funny.
I mean, he's their father figure. He's their sensei. He's the master.
Right.
And there's different stories as far as like the movie and the comics, how, he got to the point where he was, but I mean, as far as the movie goes, like, I thought he was like one of the coolest fucking characters because he was like smart, wise. He cracked a fucking whip, but like towards the end, like he got a little more playful, He's like, okay, we beat Shredder. Like, let's have some pizza and like fucking let our hair down. Yeah.
Let's make it funny.
Yeah. Such a great line.
Yeah. The one at the end of the second one was my favorite. Like I remember I remember one of my best friends growing up, her older brothers, like she and I were crazy Turtle fans, no surprise. We were watching the second movie and watching her older brothers fall out at the end of that movie. They'd never seen it or heard it or anything, and they're in the other room and all they hear is, "I made another funny," and all of them just guffaws of laughter. It was for some reason that always stuck with me, that one instance of it, and it's the most ridiculous, in hindsight, just ridiculous line.
And the fact that it's Kevin Clash that was Elmo that's working Shredder.
Shit, you're right.
That's working Splinter.
About it.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
Not to be confused with Kevin Nash, who was Super Shredder.
Super
Kevin
Shredder.
Clash.
Yep. Yeah. Shout out to Big Sexy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm looking at it, and I thought I put him on here, but he's not on my list.
Splinter?
Yeah, he probably should be, but he's not on my list. It was
you can have him as an honorable mention.
Most of my list is influenced by the toys.
Which I mean, his toy wasn't awful.
No, it wasn't awful, but it
wasn't great.
Like,
but he came with like the bow. That was kind of cool.
Yeah,
I thought.
I always thought that was. I mean, I guess he does.
And then like the fuzzy,
use one every once in a while.
Kind of cool.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. Like it was I didn't want to play with Splinter when I was a kid. Like I just wanted Turtles, Casey Jones, and villains
and bad guys.
And so he's off my list because he's kind of, most of the time, even though he's as important to the story as he always is, he's so often an afterthought as like exemplified by this fucking list that I just wrote, and I didn't even put them on there.
Now, had I done this as like a 5 to 10-year-old kid, he probably wouldn't be on my list. But as an adult with children of my own at this point, I kind of respect him a little more. Like he was trying to get the job done, get it done correctly.
And I will say this: comic book Splinter is a fucking badass.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like, definitely.
Because you like when you it's. I suppose it's just like the nature of a lot of the comic books that got turned into other properties and stuff like that. But like that book is so dark. Like the turtles are tools for him. Like ultimately, he raises them to be fucking ninja killers to exact revenge on Shredder,
his enemy, who killed his woman.
Yeah, like, and that's hardcore.
Yeah,
and then
he should be on America's Most Wanted. Honestly,
fucking A.
He's on that top 10 list.
He's a fucking he's a savage. And had I grown up with the comic book first, I'd probably think a lot higher of Splinter than I do. But it is what it is. Yeah. My 6 is Slash.
All right, Slash. Why would a rot-stupid shellback like you be interested in complicated electronic gear like this?
My dear fellow, I needed to complete my trans-frequency flux oscillator. And you, I'm afraid, are in my way.
Ooh, not on my list. Probably should be.
And again, Slash is that him being on this list is 100% influenced by character design.
Yeah, that toy was amazing.
It was so fucking cool, and it was the most rock and roll turtle you could get. Like it was essentially the same exact design as the rest of the turtles, but just fucking spikes everywhere. Yeah, and it was like a punk rock turtle.
And honestly, even the 2012 series, that figure was cool too. Like when my kids got into that, I was like, "Oh, we're buying all these fucking figures." And that one was one that he was harder to get. I think out of the 12 figures, April was the hardest one to get.
In the 2012
Nickelodeon Turtles animated series.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever watched that one.
It's pretty good.
I did not care for the design of that.
Yeah, the design of the turtles aren't great. It's very, 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 very kiddish in that era, but the stories were pretty good.
Interesting.
And there were a lot that were kind of like you could almost mirror with the movies that we grew up with.
Right on.
Like at some point they go to a farmhouse.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
A lot of callbacks.
Yeah, a lot of callbacks.
That's the one where Jason Biggs does the voice of Leonardo, I think.
Yeah, I think he comes in. Like, I don't remember if he started as that. There was somebody that came in later on. Like Seth Green was involved in it at one point.
Interesting. And I know I'm pretty sure the guy that did the voice of Michelangelo was that weirdo that was living on Roseanne's farm in Hawaii for a minute.
Why not?
Well, yeah, no, I just remember seeing him pop up. Like, I'm sure that was like the artistic license with the reality show that she was on.
Yeah, probably.
But it was growing. I remember. Weed. Well, I think was it Roseanne's Nuts? I think is what it was called. She's growing nuts. So she just had that weird guy that lived in a tent on her like a back corner of her property. And I just remember when I started seeing him pop up in other shit, I'm just like, what the fuck is Greg doing here?
Yeah, he's an actor.
It's like, what's going on? I think that honestly, that was the when the veil, the reality TV veil was like truly lifted off of. Like,
it's so awful. I can't even remember.
I love that show though. I absolutely
I did too.
that show.
I can't remember the last reality show I watched, honestly. I gave up. Like it got to the point where it was so obviously scripted, all of them, that I was just like, I can't do this shit anymore.
Yeah, I know it's there's a certain degree of bullshit involved, but Deadliest Catch and Mountain Men are still. Yeah. I'll watch the shit out of those.
Yeah, like Naked and Afraid. I can dig that. That's a fun concept, though.
But yeah, to not to get too far off. Slash like rewind. Goddamn snapping turtles, man. I grew up not in fear of them, but with like we knew
you had respect for them.
Hell yeah. And we had 2 ponds in my neighborhood when I was a kid, and there were some monsters in those ponds. Like there were like, I mean, you don't often go swimming in ponds anyway.
No,
at least not in the Northeast. But
no.
Yeah, I mean, it's like there's like the just a curiosity. It's like how much you can get away with the snapping turtle when they come out the sun, and you just get a stick.
Yeah.
Right in front of it.
So that's the test.
Bite it. Yeah. So they bite it, and you just see, like, you pull the stick back, and it's like sheared clean off. Oh my god!
You're like, this motherfucker can whittle wood.
Yeah, we're like, we gotta go. So yeah, always had a respect and curiosity about snapping turtles, because they're super cool. And then the idea of putting, like, just, I don't know, making a Ninja Turtle kind of essentially out of a snapping turtle was always fucking just fun. And like that's why, like, he's not on my list, but like Toka.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Didn't Toka mean turtle in Japanese or something? I don't know. Either way, like, but yeah, that was another.
Let me text John real quick and find
out.
Yeah.
We're talking about Ninja Turtles. Is Toka Japanese? Please and thank you.
Please and thank you. Sorry to waste your time.
I hope this is
something you're at least interested in.
I hope this finds you well, Ricky from Japan.
Shout out to Ricky from Japan.
We love Ricky from Japan.
But yeah, Slash, to me, it was always kind of like that fifth turtle we never got. There was always, kind of, we always thought we were gonna get Kirby that we never got.
Yeah.
And then we got the next mutation with Venus de Milo, which isn't on my list.
No. No.
Such a fucking weird, just a weird concept. I mean, I'm cool with strong female characters, obviously, but she had tits, and it was just weird. It
was very weird.
And then she just kind of vanished, in that show. Well, she was only in like a few episodes, and then she just
vanished, like that show did.
Yeah.
My name is Mei Pei Chi. I am Shinobi.
Hey. A girl turtle?
A girl turtle? Oh, thank you. Dreams do come true.
Yeah.
That one had some pretty decent character designs changes, though. Yeah. Like I liked when they started to and that kind of carried over a lot into the
and that's very, I mean, that show is very mixed review wise. There's some people that like it, and I mean, I never really because I was kind of out of it by then.
Yeah.
But I watched it out of, just sure, I was just curious as to what this was going to be. And it was Saban, so it was Power Rangers is that, universe, which they do end up doing a crossover. But I watched it just strictly out of curiosity, and I was like, I think they had good interests. Like, they had the best of intentions, but it just didn't transpire over to TV as well as it did movies.
No.
As far as live action, you've got to have a big budget to make, because even the third movie, by then the the costumes were just like when you can see their eye holes, like the slits. Yep. It's a little much.
Yep. Yeah, it was I don't know. Like it was just it was super weird. Yeah, everything on TV has a very TV look to it, and it just didn't lend itself. Like the live action Turtles.
It was very kitschy, very Power Rangers look to it.
But like I said, the design choices that they started to make, they started to give each turtle a little more personality with their their
bandanas and shit.
Yeah.
That was I kind of dug that, honestly.
Like I think it was Michelangelo who had the all over.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was almost like a ski mask more than it was a bandana. Like all came under his chin and around his whole head and shit like that. It was just some strange decisions that some of them were pretty cool. Like, because what else do you do? How do you change? Like, what do you do with a property that's existed for over
a
decade? Yeah, like 15 years or so.
13 to 14 years.
Because what it was 84,
and that came out 97.
Did it really? Was it the 90s?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that was.
I thought it was a little later than that. No, that's right. Yeah,
I want to say it's 97. Pretty sure. Yeah, 97 to 98. 26 episodes.
Oh wow. I didn't realize
it was that many. I thought it was like 13. Because I knew it was only one season, but I didn't realize but seasons for shows are different, especially kid shows like that. They can run a little longer.
Yeah,
anyways,
they really do like 60 episode seasons.
Anything else on Slash you wanted to mention?
No, man. It's just
cool.
It's just super fucking cool. And I think it was the first villain toy I had, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
So I think I'm gonna catch some to use a wrestling term here. I think I'm gonna catch some heat at number 5. I'm gonna go with Casey Jones at number 5.
What the hell was that?
Well, that was a crime, you purse-scrubbing pukes. And this is the penalty. 2 minutes for slashing, 2 minutes for hooking, and let's not forget my personal favorite, 2 minutes for high stick.
Right on.
And the only reason he's that low, because I mean, honestly, I thought he's one of the coolest characters. The hockey mask, badass, and just a normal dude, normal street tough.
Yep.
But vigilante tendencies. Cool character. The original movie, probably one of the coolest looking dudes that we had seen as far as like kids in a movie theater. Dude with long hair, hockey mask, baseball bat.
Yeah. I do not have him at 5.
I did not think you would.
Yeah.
So we can save it.
Yeah. My 5 is the new.
Oh, okay.
I grew up, we've, as the many conversations that we've had about music and tastes in general. My father had a 57 Bel Air. And we listened to a lot of that era of like Elvis and stuff like that. And so the aesthetic of the Neutrinos and their kind of essentially their like space rockabilly thing that they had going on, I loved them. They loved the character design, especially now going back and rewatching some of those episodes, that episode in the beginning, the first season especially. Like some of the character aspects of it, like how they did. Remember, they kept calling everybody a cube.
Yeah,
and I was just like, and I'm like, that is way too smart for a kids' TV show.
Yeah,
a 3-dimensional square.
Yeah,
like I was just like, fuck, that's awesome. That's hilarious. Like I was just like, I was like blown away, and yeah, and between the aesthetic of them and reminding me of remind me of like the diner in Spaceballs.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, the Space 50s kids, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's very spacey, rockabilly, Stray Cats, new wave kind of that cool vibe.
Yeah,
that's an excellent pick, dude. That might be my favorite pick that's not on my list. I didn't even think to honestly put them on there.
Yeah,
but they were cool fucking characters though.
Yes,
for
they
sure.
were.
Number what, 4?
Yeah.
So I'm going with the other half of the gruesome twosome, Bebop. So I separated them, which I respect your decision to keep them as a couple, which is sweet. But I separated them because I always thought Bebop was cool. He had the fucking nose ring in his snout, the fucking purple fucking mohawk with the fucking braided pony in the back, the glasses, the vest, the white shirt under the white beater. Just the fucking design of that character was so fucking cool to me. And I always, that was probably, and I guarantee you, if I really fucking dug through my mom's fucking storage unit, I guarantee you my original figure from when I was a kid is still in there. That was probably him, and my number 1 were the 2 figures that I would take on fucking car trips. Anywhere. If we were going 30 minutes down the fucking road, those 2 toys were coming with me. I just thought he was the coolest fucking toy. And that's why he's so high on my list. And the video game version, I really dug.
Yeah, Bebop he's definitely my favorite of the 2. Like I like boars. Like the animal. I think they're super weird. And I like the fact that you could let loose a pig into the wild and they will turn into a boar. Like they're just cool.
They transform.
And like I think they're, you know, to bring up a kind of circle back to a comment that we were talking about before. Like they're like just like a slept on animal.
Yeah.
Super fucking weird, and they fucking taste great.
Yeah. If I ever owned a pig, there's no doubt in my mind his name would be Bebop.
Hey, you have to. You absolutely have to, especially if you have like a potbelly pig. It'd be perfect. And then you just gotta, you know, put the old thin line sunglasses on.
Oh, I'd fucking dress him up, dude.
When the wife's not looking.
Yeah.
Dye the mohawk on the front of the top of his head.
He'd be fucking killer looking.
Absolutely.
Pierce his fucking snout. Don't cancel us, PETA. It's only episode 1.
Hey, they dye fur all the time to try to keep people away from killing them.
That's true. Yeah.
Also,
he's like food coloring or something. Safe. Kool-Aid, grape Kool-Aid. Dyes hair with that. Remember when teenagers did that in the 90s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, I can only imagine. How sticky.
I remember my cousin did that because she watched Clueless and she thought it was a great idea to dye her hair red with Kool-Aid.
Sounds like she shared a lot in common with Cher.
Yeah, she was a wild child. And actually now she's a hairstylist now, so makes sense.
Oh, excellent.
So she knows now not to do that.
Yeah. So my 4 is Casey Jones.
Oh, nice. I honestly thought he would be higher up on your list.
Yeah, I like it. A lot of it is definitely, I don't know. This is probably a lot more fluid of a list than for me than it is for you. Because he, like Casey Jones, I loved him because he the hockey mask, like design wise, and the hockey stick that came with the figure. Like as that was hockey was life when I was a kid. When the aforementioned pond froze over, we were all out on it playing hockey all winter long.
As we would.
Yeah. My father and his buddies were the ones who started the hockey club at his high school. He had me on skates. I'm pretty sure, I was going to say like at 3, but I'm pretty sure it was 4. So like I learned to skate early. I love it. Hockey was life, and it's still a big part of it. And Casey Jones was the embodiment of that in a cartoon that I watched obsessively. So it was, you know, it was no brainer. Is a great, actually.
Yep, there it is. Yeah. That's why I thought he would be higher on your list.
Yeah, I mean, it's the, you know, Hockey Master cool.
Because I remember you waiting for that to come in. So
yeah, I was very excited.
Yeah, I actually saw it at Walmart and passed on it.
Yeah,
and I'm kind of bummed that I didn't get it.
Yeah, it was.
But that's a lot of things. That's part of that dad mentality is like, I want something from my childhood and I pass on it usually to get my kids stuff that they want, because that's what you do. But
yeah,
every time I regret it. And then I find it like online like a couple of years later and it's like quadruple what I could have got it for. Like they released, I don't know if you've seen them, the Batarang replicas from the 89 Batman.
No.
So they had them at Walmart. They were like $15.
Yeah.
And I was like, why didn't I just grab that? And then when I went back to finally get one, they didn't have them anymore. And I was so fucking bummed. And I'm not paying online prices for that kind of shit. But yeah, I put over Casey Jones, the movie version, but like thinking about it, you know, you said the hockey stick that came with the toy, that toy was fucking cool.
Yep.
Because he had like the crop top and then he had like the fucking cut off sweatpants.
Yep.
It was such an 80s design.
It was funny too, in the movie version, because he's wearing the heather gray sweatpants. And when I was a kid, I never wore heather gray. I hated it whenever somebody, like, especially like sweatpants or sweatshirts. There was an anti-drug ad that used to play on WPIX that fucking it was a junkie wearing head to toe heather gray getting chased by a cop, and I assumed that was the uniform.
That's junkies. What they wore, all of them.
That was the uniform for junkies. So I remember like when the Casey Jones in the movie, I'm just like, why are they dressed him like a junkie?
He's a fucking heroin addict.
You're like, what on earth?
Casey Jones is clearly on PCP.
Yeah, and it was just always something that stuck out. And like every time I watch it, especially whenever I see heather gray sweatpants and sweatshirt combo, or either, you know, one or the other, from that era, I'm just like, man, junkies.
But you know, like, honestly, that first movie, he does kind of look like a fucking junkie.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. For sure.
Yeah. Now in the third one, he was a little more cleaned up. But
yeah,
that first movie, which I mean, it was leaning dark.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I remember that ad.
Yeah. It was it's definitely something else. It's funny.
When I grow up, I want to be a track star.
No one ever says, I want to be a junkie when I grow up. Don't let drugs get in the way of your dreams.
All right. Top 3. Here we go. Number 3. I think a lot of this has to do with my love for the big man, Kevin Nash. But Shredder. And I mean, Uncle Phil doing the voiceover for the cartoon. I mean, obviously I didn't know that at the time, but you know, as you get a little older and you put 2 and 2 together, and I'm like, huh? And then the internet comes around and then you look it up and you're like, holy shit, it is Uncle Phil.
Yep.
But I thought him in that role, that voice, I mean, it was just deep. It was like very James Earl Jones, Darth Vader. He had that good gravelly, like, just powerful voice.
I very much remember like later in life watching reruns of the cartoon, and I was like, why does that voice sound so fucking familiar? And then I caught it in the credits.
Yep.
James Avery. I'm just like,
oh shit.
Holy shit.
It's Uncle Phil.
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck?
But yeah, and the movie version, the original movie version of Shredder, when he first walks into the foot warehouse, and his shadow. And this is the part that I get into because I can see myself looking down because I'm getting into it. And though, like, when what's his name? The Japanese sidekick, bald dude. Brain fart. Because I got into it. Anyways, when he like tucks his cape into the shoulder pad, spiked shoulder pads, and then it fans out like that. Like, dude, that fucking cape was so ridiculously cool. Like that metallic kind of glittery. It didn't get any better than that at that time. Oh my God, what is his fucking name? It's gonna drive me nuts. How can we do a Turtles episode and not know his name?
Because there's too many names to remember.
Yeah, and I got way too deep into that for a second. It was kind of scary.
I recreated that image I used to draw a lot as a kid, and yeah, that shot, the way that they lit that shot, the way that they shot it, obviously, all of those, like they were all perfect decisions, and like it's
Tatsu.
Yeah, I would never have remembered that. Yeah, no, I drew it a lot. Like that whole, just that top down view, Shredder helmet, long ass fucking cape, like with the shadow and everything. Like it's a powerful image.
Yeah, my dad was super into art, and I remember that was like the first thing he ever taught me, like sans sports, was how to draw Ninja Turtles and the characters. Very simple design, taught me how to do it. I ended up using that later on to make birthday cakes for my kids instead of buying them. We thought it was cooler to like use artistic abilities and make stuff. But like I would base them on that original like drawings my dad would help me with of like the animated turtles. And they always turned out cool. And my kids, I think they appreciated that more, that I took time out of a Sunday morning to make their birthday cakes for them. Going and buying them.
It's the Ninja Turtles were the first thing that I ever drew that you could actually tell what it was.
Yeah, me too. Like what is this? What is this? A horse? No, that's Santa Claus.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately I remember exactly how I used to draw them. They were shaped more like a cross section of a mushroom.
Yeah.
It wasn't till much later that I actually got the rest of it down.
I just always remember doing that first half circle, the top of their head, then the bandana coming in, a little loop-de-loop, and then that, and and that, like the body was always a crapshoot.
Yep.
And the hands, the fingers, it was always kind of weird.
I would always just do the heads. Like I remember it was in kindergarten. Like I would just sit there and draw Ninja Turtle heads all over the place.
Yeah, I didn't pay attention in school. I was like doodling something, drawing band logos and shit.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay.
So
3.
Yep. So that was your 3.
Way too nostalgic for a second.
That's the whole point of this.
I got fucking.
Mine is Michelangelo.
Combat Conquest!
Well, the lives of 2 people don't amount to a hill of beans in this crazy world, Ilsa. That's why you're getting on that plane. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow.
Yeah, a little too rough.
Okay. So just to kind of crossfade it, he is my 2.
Okay.
So we can go straight to this to your 2.
Yeah, he nunchucks are cool as hell.
Loves pizza.
They gutted the character when they took the nunchucks away because they made them illegal.
It was so stupid.
It was the dumbest thing in the world. Like you got Leonardo with
we all knew
giant knives, like actual weapons for killing, and
Raph has giant forks.
Yeah. And
which could also easily be used for mauling and stabbing folk.
Right. However, the Sai is definitely more of a defense weapon, or like a defensive weapon.
But it's more deadly than a plastic spork that you would get in a KFC
for sure
bowl.
So, and yeah, as a kid, Michelangelo was 100% my favorite. Why? Because he was fun.
Yeah. He was the party dude.
Yeah, he was. I mean, what else? There isn't a whole hell of a lot else to say. Like he was just he was the fun one. So naturally most. You never trust the Leonardo kid.
No,
we've had this discussion before because he's a narc.
He's a fucking narc.
And the kids that like Leonardo are also narcs. And you can never. It's never too early to learn not to be a narc.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's it. He's just fucking.
Yeah, he's fun.
He was super fun,
and he was comedic. It was probably in the movies. He was probably the most entertaining.
Yeah, and always really.
Yeah,
again, that's his purpose, and to also bring it back to the county fair ninja
you get those shitty plastic
nunchucks, and then we crack them open and fill them with fucking gravel.
Yeah,
so they actually had weight to them, and then we assault the shit out of each other.
Yeah,
all
kids did that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was what you did. Like just like these suck. Like they're so light that you can't even really build up any kind of centrifugal force to swing them around. So that's why you had to do it. Just put the rocks in there.
As you're puffing on the fake cigarettes that you also got at the county fair.
Oh yeah, county fairs were the shit.
Yeah,
I miss them.
Although you could get like the one here, anyways. Once we came to Arkansas, you could get like fucking legit like ninja stars.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Which I was never like a street tough like that. I didn't trust myself with a weapon like that, so I never got them. But I had friends that got them, and I thought they were pretty cool. But I guess, I mean, and it was years later when the South Park episode came out when they throw it and it gets in Butter's eye, and like he's like bleeding out.
Yeah.
But like I could always see that happening to me because I would be that kid that like stepped in the fucking crossfires of a goddamn ninja star and catching my fucking eye.
Yeah.
And then having to wear a fucking eye patch. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Yep. And we would take the tops of high C cans.
Mm-hmm.
We would just use
Ecto-coolers.
the can opener and we'd just go all the way around until it made a razor sharp tetanus delivery device.
Mm. We were smart back then.
Yeah,
but yet here we all still are.
Yeah,
for the most part.
Right. I got a fair few amount of scars, but
yeah,
we lived through it.
Yeah, we lived to tell the stories.
So my number 2 is Donatello.
Well, guys.
Okay.
A lot of it had nothing to do with the personality, but it had a lot to do with the availability of broom handles. And yeah, as you know, running around playing Ninja Turtles as a kid, you know, and like all you want is some kind of prop. You know, you
could easily unscrew the broom,
the
sweeper part of the broom, and just have the handle. Which
right, and that's what it did.
If you hadn't noticed by now, Donatello is my number 1. So again, and which we've done really good time wise with this. It's actually a lot better than I thought it was going to be. But yeah, I'm with you. It was the accessibility of a broom handle. Purple was very 80s, early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge Prince fan, so that helped.
Yeah.
It wasn't so much that he was like the nerdy one, but like all of the gadgets and all of that kind of stemmed from him. And I guess it kind of does make it about the nerdy part, but like the fucking party wagon and all the shit that was on that is due to him.
Yep.
So, and that was the coolest fucking toy.
Voiced by Corey Feldman in the movie, in the first movie. And it's actually one of the things
first and third.
Yep, that's right. And they don't even remotely touch on the nerdy aspect of it really in the first movie.
No.
Like because there's no gadgets or anything like that.
No.
It's all just pretty introductory, but I loved his character. Like him and Michelangelo's dynamic in that first movie is masterful. full.
And Corey Feldman really did that character due diligence. Like, because the second one, Donatello's kind of a bitch.
Yep.
And his voice is obnoxious, very nasally.
Yep. It's going from one to two, like back to back. It's just kind of, it like just falls off.
Yeah.
Like I know a lot of the stalwarts are not a big fan of it, but that was the big one for me when I was a kid. Like we saw the first one was great, but I hated dark movies when I was a kid.
Right.
Like
because you're wanting to have fun.
Right. So you want bright colors and all that other stuff.
Which
and
two
so,
was.
Yes, it was. It was very cartoony. And it was
nice.
Yep. But like I have the shirt. I'll probably wear it for next week's recording session. Okay. It's just a shot of Michelangelo and Donatello in the sewer waiting for the pizza guy.
Uh-huh.
It says, "Wise man say, forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza."
Yeah.
Which I had to remember never to wear as a pizza delivery man. As much as I wanted to, I was just like, I don't want to give him any ideas.
I think that quote kind of shaped us as maybe not so much kids, because I don't really remember ordering too many pizzas, but I remember like when I became like a teenager and I could like, my mom would leave like a checkbook for us, like if for whatever, single mom. So, food wasn't always plentiful in the house sometimes. And especially like Friday, Saturday night, she's at work and we want pizza for dinner. So that was I could easily forge my mom's signature back then. Don't do that, kids. Which not many parents have checks anymore, but just saying, don't do that. It's wrong without permission. Now, I always had permission. I would always call my mom at work and be like, hey, I want fucking pizza. Like, we're hanging out. Can I order like, $40 in pizza? So yeah, but that's kind of like where that mentality was. Never pay full price for like pizza.
Yeah.
It's like, don't tell me it's going to be 45 minutes and it's an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah. And that's especially a thing. Like I worked at a very popular pizza place here. And
I remember that.
Yeah. I used to join the Zoom calls while on my route. Like I'm still to this day, like whenever I see like 30 minutes or less, I'm just like, are you kidding me?
Why would you do that to yourself?
Like it takes like, I mean, it's traffic here is absurd anyway, but like it's 20, 25 minutes from order to boxing. So like, I'm just like, that's insane.
But think about it this way though. 1990 Manhattan.
Yeah.
You've got the greatest pizza in the world. It's not a fucking debate. I'm sorry if you're from Chicago and you like deep dish. There's no debate. There's nothing better than New York pizza.
I agree.
I'm sorry.
You're certainly not going to get any objection from me.
Who in their right fucking mind in this time period or any time
ordering fucking Domino's in New York City?
Domino's in Manhattan. I don't care what their fucking shtick is.
Yep.
Or how cheap it is.
Yep.
Give me real pizza or give me fucking death.
Right.
I mean, gladly pay full price for like pizza if it's good.
Now that we're really on it, we're like talking to the logistics of pizza delivery in Manhattan.
Now it's product placement, obviously.
Of course. But. Like, I mean, in most cases, if there's commercial spaces on any given street, there's almost a guarantee that there's going to be a pizza place. So maybe 30 minutes is doable.
With the abundance of pizza restaurants in Manhattan.
Yeah.
It's very doable.
Yeah.
I mean, you got how many fucking 99-cent slice places?
Yeah.
There's one on every corner.
I love it. It's my favorite. That's like, because there's nothing to it. There's nothing to it. Like New York pizza.
Yeah.
Like very pointedly, there's like nothing to it. Like there's minimal sauce.
Yeah.
The fucking the crust is like paper thin.
Right.
And they pretty much it's just the abundance of it. And you get a slice that's as big as your fucking head.
Yeah.
And you pay dirt cheap prices for it, generally speaking. But you here you can still get a good, that place that I worked at. You get a New York slice for like $3.
That's not bad.
You know,
especially in
for inflation.
2020.
Yeah, adjusted for inflation. That's nothing.
Yeah. Well, late 20 maybe.
Yeah, but it's funny too if you like extrapolate it out. One of those pizzas, the 24-inch pizza that the slices came from, was like $24. Like if you go that, you do the math. 3 times 8. Actually, no, that's perfect.
Yeah,
I'm bad at math.
The more you know.
Yeah, holy shit. All right, never mind.
Well, I'll add that.
I said nothing.
The more you know. I'll add that in post-production. Put it in post. We'll fix it in post.
Yeah.
But no, the best part about that to me always was because when the VHS for the first movie came out, Domino's clearly in the movie. The guy on the bike.
Yep.
And then, but before the movie starts, you get the great, iconic,
the best. Probably, I would argue that that's the best commercial that's ever existed. Like to me, and obviously
nostalgia, yeah, because you knew what was about to come on. That and the Diet Coke combo with the Looney Tunes from the Batman '89 VHS.
Yeah. The Warner Brothers, catalog commercials.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, that one's definitely up there. I think the song,
I'm really gonna fucking geek out for that.
Out where the dandelions grow, man.
Yeah,
like that. Goldberg from Mighty Ducks is in it.
Yep.
Like that. Yeah, man. I love it. I absolutely love that fucking.
But like I remember, it didn't matter if it was in the morning. I popped that VHS in. I'd watch it all fucking day. I didn't care. I remember like just sitting on like on like the little fucking rug, the area rug. That's what it's called. And I'd have like a bowl of cereal. It's like I always like matched that kind of stuff up with like the time period and like what I was eating. And it was like, and then like lunchtime, you might have pizza, or you might have like I don't know, frozen burrito or something. But then at night on a weekend, you'd watch it with your friends, and you guys have like this big fucking pie. Yeah. You're just going to fucking town on it, like maybe root beer, or Mountain Dew.
Yeah, that was. I feel like that was the reason.
Surge
was the reason on. I was so heavy on Mountain Dew later in life. Is because that was a non-starter conversation with my parents when I was a kid. Like, no way we're not giving you that much caffeine.
No, that was weekend only. I wasn't allowed to have soda during the week. As a young kid, anyways. And then later on,
we were a stalwart Coca-Cola household.
Yeah, I just actually drink, and I'm a Diet Pepsi person, honestly. But yeah. So you're number one because I gave mine away already.
Yep. And my number one is Raphael.
Nice.
It's it's kind of funny too, considering how my youth influenced all the rest of most of these other decisions. But the Raphael at number one is entirely influenced by how I am as an adult. Like I relate. I'm a somewhat reforming, hot-headed individual. So when I watch Raphael, especially in the movies, I'm just like, I get this guy. Like
he speaks to me.
Yeah.
I feel like we would be friends.
Yeah. And it's the attitude, how much he is put to the forefront in those movies. He's voiced by was it Robert Paulson?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
In the cartoons, which he's the voice of so many of my
excellent characters.
Yeah. And yeah, I just love it. And even to the point where I had to go out and get myself some fucking side. Yeah, it's I don't know. The fucked up part is I don't like red. Like red is like even more than I don't like blue. I don't like red, but like the character of Raphael is too much. Like it just supersedes all of that stuff.
Yeah, you can forgive him for the color red.
Wearing the worst color on the planet.
I hate red so much.
I do too. Like,
I think the only red stuff that I have a Rutgers hoodie and any like Hulk Hogan. If it's Hulk Hogan, chances are it's going to be red. So that I can forget, or Uncle Terry, as we call him.
It kills me that there's red in my color scheme for like my logo and the streams and all that other stuff.
Yeah, but you know what? It just kind of goes.
You can't do that gradient. Like that gradient does not take you to the same place when it's cool colors.
Yeah,
like green's my favorite color.
Green and navy blue are my colors.
Yeah, if I made a green gradient for that, it wouldn't look the same. It'd look weird. It'd be something else entirely. But yeah, so I hate red, but I love Raphael. It does the job.
Solid list. Solid.